if you can get past that taunt on the Flutter main, then you at least have a couple of answers, but you have to pick one. And so you can see our players are fist bumping, they're getting ready to lock in their selections. But yeah, you gotta definitely pay attention to how you will do if this trick room gets set up. And let's not forget that Nick Navarre also has a Calyrex Ice Rider on his team.
Yeah, it also has that trick room move. Kind of like 4 choices other than the protect you really have to pick between. For him, he dropped the high horsepower, so has Glacial Land, Trick Room, and Leech Seed, which could also kind of be impactful here. You know, if this is a more pivoting-based game, something like the Indeedee tries to stay on the field for a while, maybe it's an option to try to get a Leech Seed off. Speaking of maybe if the option of this game going longer, although you know, with the Torkoal, you know, usually here for a good time rather than a long time. The Pollen Puff on Amoonguss for Nick is something to keep in mind as well. All these Pokemon pretty good at getting in and out of battle, and if Amoonguss can get maybe a cheeky Pollen Puff off, knowing that Spore isn't going to work so well potentially in this matchup, could still be very impactful.
Well, as we enter into our final round of Swiss that we will be featuring here on the Pokemon World Championship stage, let's get hyped up for Nick Navarre versus Chi-Hong Chu as they take to the stage and enter into our first game of this best of 3.
It's an interesting combination here. We do get the Weather War immediately with Kyogre coming out. We'll activate the Drizzle, then immediately have it immediately with Kyogre coming out. We'll activate the Drizzle, then immediately have it negated by the Drought from this Torkoal. And you know, Torkoal Lunala is not a lead combination I've seen a whole lot of, but I think it's kind of fun here. We just see the Flutter Mane, which is going to get the photosynthesis boost from that Drought. So the Weather War is not all good, but you know, I think it's sort of a fun solution, right? I think a lot of like the more defensive leads are really going to struggle with the taunt from Flutter Mane, and you know, Lunala is probably not going to enjoy that either. But the offensive option is pretty interesting here, right? Maybe just have the Lunala try to attack the Flutter Mane, at least get a boosted fire type attack off with Torkoal, even if you may have to take a water type attack from Kyogre in return. And Nick's sort of in a weird spot, right? We're like, well, you know, I'd love to switch out and get control of the weather again, but like, can I really afford to do that here?
And I think he's just going to give it up. He's already hovering over the option of keeping this Kyogre in, and despite the fact that he does not have that weather advantage, will just try to full send, hopefully a full HP water spout. Given the actual speed interactions of these Pokemon, this Kyogre will be the second to move on the field, and that's not something that this Torkoal is going to be taking super comfortably. You're also under the threat right now, because this Flutter Mane is faster, you're either forcing the Terrestrialization out of this Lunala immediately, or it's going to be taking a huge Shadow Ball, breaking that Shadow Shield, and then the Kyogre can hopefully clean up from there. You see the Torkoal switch out, Indeedee takes the field instead, and there's the Terra.
Yeah, it's a very interesting move here. We can see the Torkoal coming out immediately, switching out of battle despite having control of the weather, and this really interesting path. I don't know if I've really seen a team like this approach a matchup this way, and maybe catching Nick a little bit off guard.
Well, here's the Shadow Ball from the Flutter Mane that's going to go into this newly terrestrialized Lunala. You can see how that Shadow Shield is going to help out there, but the special defense drop is huge. This might be a big turn for at least getting some extra damage through, but it certainly does not help for later on in this game versus this Flutter Mane. That terrain, though, getting set up allows this Lunala to have that Expanding Force become that spread move, and it's a pretty good damage trade for Chi-Hong, all things considered.
I love this angle. You know, you're looking at the team sheet, it's a hard Trick Room team, and you know, there's no caster cam right now, so you have to imagine me air quoting hard Trick Room, because that's really interesting, right? You see the Expanding Force, not even trying to go for the Trick Room. A taunt there would have been a huge mistake, and you know, despite getting to double target Lunala, that water spout wasn't so strong, and now Kyogre's had a hard time using that for the rest of the battle, forced to switch out here, and this bad matchup's looking a little playable.
I don't mind this, though. I think Chi-Hong on that first turn, taking out the Torkoal, was anticipating that Nick would have preserved that Kyogre a little bit later, and maybe even was trying to anticipate the switch out on that turn 1. So now Nick gets away with a little bit of that water spout damage, is able to maintain that full HP on the Kyogre for a little bit later, and gets something else in return. The taunt onto this Indeedee will not be able to go for Follow Me on the subsequent turns, and this Lunala has the opportunity to go for the Meteor Beam, but that's something that even this Rillaboom is going to be taking a bit better. It's going to be targeted into that Flutter Mane, though. One of the big problems of this matchup will be eliminated by the Meteor Beam.
So that's really interesting as this match plays out. So now no longer has to worry about that taunt for game one. This Lunala has become even more threatening with that boosted special attack. The taunt of the DD is pretty troublesome. You don't love to see that. The DD does have one attacking move and alluring voice, but you know, at GS Cup, you don't really want a Pokemon like that on the field just being forced to use attacks. But the early advantage there coming with that knockout, and this is probably, if I was Nick, I'd feel a little bit off balance here. You know, I was kind of thinking going in, oh, maybe it's more of a positional battle, but this more aggressive approach seems to be working really well in this matchup.
It really has, and you still have that Torkoal. So despite the fact that Nick is going to be bringing that Kyogre back in, and I misspoke earlier, did take that expanding force, so it is at half HP. That means you're going to be limited to the Origin Pulse if you want, or Hydro Pump. Either of those two moves to really be able to take advantage of the rain. Chi-Hong has the option to bring in the Torkoal.
Yeah, and we saw how well that the Lunala was able to take the Water Spout. Whatever Water type attack we will see here will be weaker than that if Torkoal is able to come and reduce the damage again. And hey, you know, that Grass Terror is looking pretty good against Rillaboom too. They potentially have to take a super effective U-turn, but you know, I think you're fine if that's the worst you're taking. You know, much more likely we see a fake out here instead. And you're talking a lot about the weather control of this matchup with the fire versus water, but maybe it's the terrain control we should look at. Rillaboom is able to switch that, and there's just a ton of incentive now to get the taunted Indeedee out of the battle. But it's Lunala getting out of here first, like, hey, you know, I don't need the special attack boost that badly. I'm going to keep playing things a little bit unconventionally, maybe try to keep my opponent off guard.
Well, there still was also that special defense drop that the Lunala had taken, so that's another debuff that this Lunala is able to cleanse away by removing itself from the field. And in fact, it's a double switch here for Chi-Hong. You're going to get the Ice Spider Calyrex in next to the Torkoal, and this is where things are going to start to get quite risky. Both of these Pokemon having a fantastic matchup into the Kyogre in the sun and this Rillaboom. And the Origin Pulse, oh, it's going to miss one of those targets. Critically, though, it hits the Torkoal, bringing it down so low.
Yeah, the Torkoal in this battle now is looking like it might only be a drought bot for what's left. Does get control of the weather here. It puts Nick in a sort of interesting situation where, hey, do you try to get rid of this Torkoal? Do you anticipate a switch maybe where, you know, you're in a situation now you really don't want to end up in a late game or that Torkoal is able to come back in under a Trick Room. Could still potentially do a lot of damage. Eruption no longer looking too threatening, but again, very interesting where now the Indeedee also out of battle, so gonna have to worry about it coming in and maybe messing with Rillaboom by changing the terrain. And we see the importance of that first knockout, whether you really like to cycle these Pokemon now, get your own field effects, and as soon as you start losing Pokemon, it's really tough to maintain control of those field effects.
You could still go for the U-turn, and so at least that's going to be something that Nick can use to capitalize on still having that fourth Pokemon in the back. But Chi-Hong has been so lights out with going for these manual switches, making sure that he can continue to capitalize on the weather and terrain control, something he's going to get back now with this Indeedee coming in to get the Psychic Surge.
So for now, Rillaboom's going to get out of battle here, so eventually we'll be able to reset that grassy terrain. And while Indeedee probably doesn't love catching that super effective U-turn on the switch, you know, its job here is to support these two beefy, restricted Pokemon, and its friend Torkoal potentially as well. And hey, Calyrex is going to come in here and probably take an attack well, but you're giving a free turn to the opposing Calyrex is always a little scary.
Especially if that Calyrex is going to go for something like the Trick Room, but now we see the Kyogre just simply go for the Water Spout. There was a critical hit, but that Indeedee still hangs on, and there is no Trick Room. This Calyrex just decides to go for the Glacial Lance, brings this Kyogre down quite low.
Yeah, and that's a critical here where not only is it such an important Pokemon, but Nick getting down to two Pokemon would potentially set up a situation where he loses these control of the terrain for the remainder of the battle. Rillaboom will be able to switch in one.
Don't you Glacial Lance at this point? Because, like, if they switch into Lunala, that's definitely going to kill it at this point. Just got to watch out for the opposing Cali. That's what I'm thinking, but, like, what do you do from here?
So Nick's have to play this carefully and would really love to get a knockout here to try to simplify this game a little bit.
Well, Water Spout at least is 100% accurate. You know that you're going to be knocking out that Indeedee no matter what, despite your HP bar going a little low. But Indeedee says, I'm not going to go down without a fight. Here's the helping hand.
Yeah, or Glacial Lance wouldn't have been enough before, but maybe just be trading KOs here.
Wow, look at how little damage that Water Spout is going to do, but at least you're able to get that Indeedee out of the way.
It's gonna do. I was like, this Glacial Lance is gonna. Oh, they missed.
But the Leech Seed is going to miss. That was something
that
Nick was banking on, just to maybe even force out this Ice Spider Calyrex on the next turn. But the Kyogre goes down,
So now the Calyrex at +1, which is kind of scary.
Really going to make the remainder of this game trickier. You'd really like to get that lead seed on there, start winning the battle between these two Calyrex. It was already kind of the complication for Nick, where Nick, the remaining Pokemon in his team, not quite as effective in this matchup as the other ones.
Because now,
very critical for Nick. Certainly, this really going to have a hard time getting through the.
Now Chi-Young has one semi-fast, and then one super slow. But then now it's like, I mean, Rillaboom is moderately slow, but like somewhere in between. Oh gosh. If you can hit the Glacial Lance on Lunala, I don't know, that's kind of scary. Because Lunala's... No, what do you do here?
Threatening attack here, and I think the thing to avoid for Nick here is there any way you could avoid a couple turns here where you kind of have to get your Rillaboom knocked out by a Glacial Lance and then allow a Trick Room to be set up, which you probably let Torkoal come in and close this game out despite its low HP. Not a whole lot of time left. Nick's going to have to make a decision here. He knows this game is right on the edge of getting away from it.
Ooh, that was really close for comfort in terms of how fast you get locked in those moves.
Because they still had a Torkoal in the back.
It's a little bit awkward though when you think about it. The sun has been set for a couple of turns now. Looks like it might be expiring, and that's definitely something that the Torkoal would have loved to take advantage of. But because of the
it's water.
There's not really a whole lot of need anymore to have that sun active.
Yeah, the Terastallization on Nick's side is good though. The Woodhammer going to come down.
Does it? No. Wow.
That was a lot. I think even with a second Woodhammer with the grassy terrain, that might be enough.
This definitely kills a Torque. It doesn't kill the Torque? What? At least we know the opposing Cali is so slow. Hey, Watermelon Car. I finally have the weekends off for my like new job. So like, and I really just wanted to stream my whole like shiny Arceus thing. So I'm trying to get one at least today.
Lunala can't come in safely either, so it looks like to be an attempt to sacrifice this Torkoal.
Yeah, because even if the Lunala comes in and you go for the wide guard, this Ice Rider Calyrex is never going to get enough damage through for this Lunala to kind of catch up.
What? Who did it? Honestly, did it miss? But no, the Torkoal is dead now. So now it's +1/+1. Shiny Sprig and 68 eggs. Unfortunate. Quite unfortunate, couldn't hatch one more egg later. Also too, over like the past 2 weeks in my first job, I've been able to use Pokemon Home on the mobile app to like complete so much of my Pokédex. I'm so close to getting the original color Magearna. Because I was like, oh, if you want to get original color Magearna, you have to like complete the national dex on Pokemon Home. And it's like, okay, well, let me just wonder trade all these like Pokemon. So I literally just need like 6 more, and I can get the Magearna original color.
I think that would be one thing that could keep him into this game, especially because that final Woodhammer from the Rillaboom would be enough to knock out the Ice Rider Calyrex now.
Yeah, I think this is a really important turn where either side can kind of take.
So I'm pretty excited about that.
Going for it, but I think it might be necessary here, where it's just kind of hard to see.
I say, don't they normally stream these like events for like 8 hours?
Yeah. Ooh, Calyrex on Nick's side is going to go for the protect as well, also trying to bait out the fact that you do have that wide leg.
Oh, hit the
double protect. Dog.
Nick on this turn was
dog.
Woodhammer to knock it out, and that means it looks like this Lunala is going to go for the gold, try to get this Rillaboom out of the way. And
oh wait, but it has to like, it's 2 turns.
It's gonna delay it a turn, but you get the special attack boost.
I guess, we're... No, that's crazy work. I would have expected that by at this point, he would have did like Glacial Lance or at least attack the Lunala by this point.
to, I guess, anticipate that not occurring. But
man,
if had really made any progress there, I think very unlikely we see a triple protect. So going to have to go for something different this time.
Well, are you sure? Because maybe you do have to bank on that, knowing the delicacy of the situation.
Yeah, I mean, it may be required, right? Where, hey, you get even less likely to succeed on that third protect. But if you feel like, hey, I can't win at all if I don't hit it. It's still better
also, I've been at this shiny Arceus for at least like 5 or 6 months already.
At least so far hasn't really
Like a minimum each day. Well, a few days like I haven't been able to like do it, but like it's like every time I attempt to get this shiny Arceus, I always do it for a minimum of 3 hours. And I still haven't gotten him. Oh! It killed!
So Woodhammer does get the knockout there, but what is this Lunala capable of? We'll find out. Woodhammer recoil is also going to make this a little bit tough, but as this Lunala lands the Meteor Beam into the Calyrex, it's just a one-hit knockout. And Chihong, wow,
with the crit? Yeah, okay, dude.
Thought so, right? Because otherwise he wouldn't have gone for that double protect. Really wound up burning him to protect the previous turn. Usually it's so easy to play around the Meteor Beam after the power-up's gone because you have to worry about that. But really we're going to go for the U-turn here.
Nah, he's not winning. It's already at like +1, right? +1 Moongeist, that kills. Yeah, I was about to say. Crazy!
Looks like you just went through a battle there. A very stressful match, I think. A lot of twists and turns, that one.
It's stressful for me to watch this.
Man.
For a while, they're like, all right, this is an incredible start with that switching.
I don't know about you, but I would be bringing Klefki. I'd be bringing that Sun Team, Walking Wake plus Skull Villain. Dog. Oh, yes. Crazy. I was crazy once. They locked me in a room. A rubber room. A rubber room full of rats. Rats make me crazy. Crazy. I was crazy once. They locked me in a room.
Probably feel a little bad about it, where if the double protect doesn't happen, your Real Boom picks up a knockout, and we're looking at a little different ending there. But still a lot of fun, and both players know that they can still win games in this set going into game 2.
But even if that double protect doesn't happen, think back to when Nick protected.
Bruh, I be bringing Magic Room Klefki, and people be like, "Where's my item?" Literally no item gets activated. Sorry guys, no items. Haha, I'm pretty good at Pokemon, aren't I?
Almost had it anyway, where I think maybe one of those reads he's making. All right, if I get the
Magic Room Smeargle. Endeavor. Level 1 Pain Split Sturdy. I'm pretty good at Pokemon. Maybe I should play in the World Champions Championships.
You know, on the brink of elimination, where this is the final round of Swiss, so these players must win this set to stay in the tournament. But also now Nick's down 0-1. He had a very kind of unconventional approach from his opponent there, and it makes Team Preview so tricky. Where will he try to play this matchup again similarly in game 2, or maybe see some of the more defensive positioning-based battle we kind of expect from this sort of matchup?
But especially when Chihong on paper does have the...
People be like, I'm gonna bring hyper offensive, and I'm gonna bring Trick Room. I'm gonna bring both hyper offensive and Trick Room. Half of the team I bring on if I need to switch around and do Trick Room, because every Pokemon that people like to use are fast. I don't know. Here comes a Torkoal.
Using the same team once again, and could be a team that's strong enough to give them the World Championships. We see familiar Pokemon starting the battle here.
We sure do. So we'll see this turn play out exactly like we did in that game number 1. The Kyogre sets the rain, Torkoal takes it away, and then Fluttermane gets a very nice accidental photosynthesis boost.
Yeah, I love this here where, again, this is a pretty aggressive lead by the Sun side of the field, right? Where Tokal kind of exposed, Lunala kind of exposed. You don't really have an option of a really defensive setup here. You can try to go for a Trick Room. I think that would be a little scary, but maybe it works this time, right? After that really aggressive play the previous time, it kind of puts Nick on the back foot, like, oh, I don't want to take that huge expanding force again that made that matchup really tricky. So I'm excited to see how this plays out. I really think this is such an intricate matchup to try to play a best of 3 in. I do think taking that first game was just such a huge advantage mentally.
Absolutely. You can see actually Nick is really struggling for this first turn to kind of figure out what to do. Knowing how that turn 1 of game 1 played out, the Indeedee switched in, the Lunala went for this gigantic expanding force, and it already put that Kyogre quite low in HP for later on in the game. And as we see this game 2 play out, it's the
personally, I would have brought Tailwind plus Groudon, and I'd be heat crashing everybody. Plus Terrifier. You know, I think that'd be pretty strong here because this guy keeps using Terra Grass, and he'd be bringing the Glastrier, which is like slower than Groudon, and it's an Ice type. Yeah, I think I would have won by now.
But this Lunala is still so healthy, and Chico knows this Trick Room is so free, and you've got 2 fantastic Pokemon in the Trick Room to take advantage of it right away.
And what an incredible way to do this, right? Where we don't really see any of the support Pokemon, still gets the turn 1 Trick Room, doesn't really get any significant damage on his side of the field for it, has the weather control, and has both of them restricted on the field for all the turns of Trick Room. I don't know if I could quite have imagined this when we were looking at the matchup before the match started, but I'm just really impressed by this player. It's just such expert play on team archetype that doesn't usually work at this level if you're playing in a really telegraphed way. This is some special gameplay that we're seeing.
But that's exactly what you called out the taunt on the Flutter Mane, and I think this is the reason why. How easy is it for you to lock down any of the 3 Trick Room Pokemon on the team with that taunt specifically? And so if you're Nick, you just have to look at trying to stall
Protect this, protect that. How about we do some prankster taunt stuff, bro? Like, I think I'm pretty cool. You know. Look, watch me just trash talk the whole time. I'm about to say, that thing better be sashed, because why would you not make it sashed? Shadow Ball. Why would you not attack the Lunala? You know? Like, I know it's super effective on the Glastrier, but like,
Calix like, ooh, that looks good. I feeling a little chilling day coming up here. So,
nose pass, Eviolite, Magnet Pull.
If you want to switch out of battle and try to avoid getting an attack,
oof, terrifying.
Switch out
body press, eye def, rest, and volt switch. Yeah, I don't know why people don't bring more rest talk stuff. You know, I think that's a pretty cool strategy. It literally keeps them healthy.
I think either way, you have to give up the Flutter Mane here. Everything that looks like it's in the back, you don't want to switch in your Ice Sprout or Calyrex to be able to take 2 attacks. And especially if you suspect that something like a Shadow Ball might be going that way too, or Moongeist Beam, not something that you want to deal with. So Nick, unfortunately,
replace rest with Pain Split. Yeah. Is this thing shiny? No, it's not. I have to use like the small little icon to actually tell if it's shiny or not. No, hold on. I gotta look again. No, that's normal. Oh my god, Kyogre, you're the GOAT. Hydro Pump it. 50%. Now bring in the Cali.
Calyrex is going to enter the battle here with an awful lot of work to do. One of its friends has already been knocked out. Its buddy Kyogre is pretty low on HP as well. And while normally a Calyrex entering the field during Trick Room is so exciting, neither of his Pokemon look quite ready to be knocked out. They just have to worry about a potential.
You know what you should do? Make the nose pass, or you can even do a level 1 Probopass because it evolves with a Thunderstone. I'm pretty sure nowadays. Make it level 1. Terra Ghost in case they want to like fake you out or whatever. Shell Bell, Pain Split, Sandstorm, Taunt, and then what's the last move it has? Oh, Pain Split, Stealth Rock, Sandstorm,
would not be able to get any
and
damage
Taunt.
through.
I'm pretty sure it gets all of those. All of
Really going
those.
to add up for the rest of this game.
Yeah, we'll have to see. Kyogre is going to get the protect here. Decide,
Or
hey,
you
know,
replace
I
the
don't wanna be
Sandstorm
killed
with
by
something
Boost
else.
Ooh, but with the Reposing Glacial Lance, we now see that there's no Wide Guard having been selected for this Lunala. Calyrex, as an Ice type, is going to take that Glacial Lance just a little
Finally
bit better,
got the
especially
leech
because
seed
it's
off.
bulky and does let
Next
go
time,
lead to
run
Summer
a wide lens,
on
dude.
his own Calyrex Ice.
If I keep saying stuff like this,
Did not get that call right. I think Nick gets
let's
one
just leave
turn
it there.
now. Needs a couple more to get right.
Low ladder activities. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's what I'm talking about. We on that experimenting type strategies.
Could really pay off. The Calyrex and Nick side of the field going to end this turn.
You gotta start cooking stuff that no one would expect. Magic room clef key. That way the Gliscor doesn't activate its toxic orb, and then you trick them, and then you choice trick the Gliscor a flame orb, so like EQ and knockoff doesn't do anything. Counter Mega Aggron.
It is, and I think that's where you have to look at this next critical turn here from Chi Hongdu actually.
Also, why do people keep bringing Lunana? Bring Necrozma, dude. Necrozma's got that like thing, and it's like if they U-turn you. I literally hate Fling Gliscor. It's like, okay, I got my poison. Now you're gonna get toxic because I'm gonna get rid of my item. And it's like, screw you. Rillaboom. He go boom boom. Cause he's a Rillaboom. Haha.
Yeah, it's like Kyogre's gonna be able to come back in. I'm not gonna say for free, but first this Glacial Lance to come down. The damage does
You
matter.
kids and your gosh darn acrobatics. Also, ever since you showed me that like really good like upper hand sword, I'm pretty sure it was Swords Dance as well, but that upper hand Hawlucha set that you gave me with that one stream, like I legit have respect for you because that's like I never could have thought of stuff like that for Hawlucha. And then also too, I won 2 times on Pokemon Showdown, where I used like it was like Swords Dance, Icicle Crash, knockoff upper hand with a Weavile, and I won both times that I used it because their Dragonite tried to like obviously E-speed me, and I just upper hand them like 2 times and kill them. And then who else? I think someone tried to a King Gambit tried to sucker punch me because I was low on health, and then I upper handed the King Gambit.
I can pick what 2 Pokemon wind up on the field at the end of his turn. Maybe I sacrifice one Pokemon. I need the other for the end game. We do see a switch here. He's like, all right, I need Torkoal. I'm going to get control of the weather. My path
but even then, against Goldango, I started to think about like what exactly counters Goldango, and it's like, oh, I would say Chansey or Blissey, but then it's like, well, then what if they start nasty plotting? That's why. Oh. I guess you bring like. I say, oh, bring Choice Scarf. What's his name? Juro Excadrill? But then it's like, what if. Oh, no. You bring Weavile? I don't know. Yeah, Calm Mind Bliss. Bolt Beam. Although I haven't used Blissey or Chansey in a long time because I got back to using Ditto again,
looks like it only has a single turn left.
And like, I don't know. It's like, it keeps working for me, but I know you can't just rely on Nitto.
Pokemon's the right move, and now this is the combination of Pokemon that I need. Lunala coming out here can't protect. So the assumption here is like, all right, this is the decisive turn. This is the 2 Pokemon. My Calyx either going down or switching, which seems unlikely here because the likelihood that winds up being a little scary for the Torkoal. So we'll have to see what these trainers have in mind.
I mean, you can bring in the Torkoal, I guess, to get rid of
oh. Nick's already lost 2 of his Pokemon. I started like not paying attention. Oh my god. Also, one thing I realized, I did some research on like which legendaries you can get as shinies, and of course, the day I learned that the Shiny Charm and Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl only affects eggs, I realized once I get this shiny Arceus, I'm not going after Cress or Heatran in this game, because apparently, you know, I don't want to be doing the same thing. But I will go for I will get those shinies in Shield, because apparently I think with the Shiny Charm in Sword and Shield in the max layer, it's a 1 out of 100 chance, which I'm fine with. I'm fine with 1 out of 100.
Doesn't matter too much when you have that much boosted attack, and you know Torkoal's going to come in and theoretically have some advantage. You know, it's going to have its drought up against Kyogre. It's going to you know, be healthy or something. But yeah.
So once we catch Arceus, we are never playing BDSP ever again.
There, but was able to battle back in this one. Kyogre staying in the field's a big deal too. Continues to add complication for this Torkoal, and you know, maybe the wrong Pokemon was preserved after all.
Now, Glacial Lance is going to be
dude, we love those Goob Shice plays. Get Goob, Dragonite.
So right. Sometimes it doesn't matter. It just matters that you've got a ton of damage. I'm not going to do the math there. But this, I mean, this Kyogre, does it just finish it off before the Ice Rider can?
I'll say the Kyogre just, or not Kyogre, but the Torkoal just dies. It doesn't matter.
We've got 1 game apiece, and it all comes down to this 3rd game to see who will move forward to this World Championship top cut.
Man, what a fun set this has been so far. Nick had a tough start to that game, really to give up a lot in Trick Room, but not too much, right? And I think that's kind of just this format. You know, the Pokemon in this format deal so much damage. And again,
hold on, I'm gonna change the layout of this.
They're gonna have to take some damage, but able to keep Calyrex healthy and just really dominated that game. And if we think back to game 1, hey, you know, maybe if the Leech Seeds hits, we see something more similar to what we saw in game 2. So both trainers maybe back to the drawing board here, but I'm feeling pretty good if I'm Nick. As much as it was like going to be a little bit sketchy, or he had to make some reads, that he saw the same thing as game 1, was able to beat it this time, I think probably gives him some confidence going to the decisive game set.
Yeah, but maybe this time around.
It's like, I'm gonna 1 KO. No, I'm gonna come out and like do some big damage against this Blissey, because Blissey has low defense. And then, oops, sorry, looks like I'm dead. Get Goob, Dragonite. I solely believe that, like, that Orthworm is like a hard counter to Dragonite. It doesn't matter if it's +1 or +2. Like with Orthworm, it can't Earthquake you. And yeah, sure, they may do they're gonna do their Terra normal E-speed. And some of them, for some reason, run Fire Punch. I get it. I get that they want to do that. Because that's a good counter to Goldango with, yeah. I mean, you're not wrong, though. Levitate Bronzong. I need to, because I do love Bronzong. I do. It's a defensive, like, a good defensive, like, Trick Room user. Because I love Trick Room. Turns out I actually love Trick Room, because everything everybody runs is always faster.
But it's got to do more than that. This thing has Terra Fire. It's got choice specs. how much damage
But yeah.
it's able to do with a
I don't know.
reaction
I just like
fireball
Orthworm.
is
Just because it's like, oh, let me bring in my extra drill and EQ everybody. Oops, looks like I healed the Orthworm. Now I'm going to get body press.
This team's a little tricky there. We've got 3 Pokemon that can't use Protect and 2 Pokemon that can't attack. So,
Yeah.
kind of all
I have like 2 different Bronzongs with like unique marks. One is like Trick Room, Gyro Ball, Light Screen, and then something else. And then another one is like Body Press, something something. I haven't used them in forever. Hold on, I'm gonna move this a little further.
Preliminary turn.
I gotta make that bigger.
It's such a tricky turn for Nick here as well. We kind of saw both ways this can play out for him, neither of which are actually that great. Where the
But I mean, that was before I was like fully, I fully knew what I was doing with EV training. So I do need to change those.
In a potential terrestrialization again. But it still worked out last game for Nick, right? Where you kind of got like the worst case scenario and it was still okay. So do you make the same move again? Or do you think, hey, I don't know if I can survive giving that much up? Nick doing a great job of taking all his time, thinking this through. This is a choice with a lot of consequences. We'll have to see what the trainers choose to do here.
Yeah, really big, risky call because FT Home decides to go all out onto the attack. This could backfire in a major way. But with the Torkoal taking its lead, we will see it replaced with the Urshifu.
Oh, Urshifu.
For the second game, but the caught into the Lunala, and there's also no.
Ah, you're right. No Toxic and no Quake.
Urshifu has to take over 50% of its health with the move in, and Lunala gets its trick room completely shut out.
Yeah, things looking great for Nick there, and it was a great read. Chion's probably thinking, oh, I didn't trick from the first 2 games.
I'm sorry, I keep moving the stuff.
Not so fast. Nick
But I
pulls the
need
taunt.
this to be like...
Urshifu going to switch in. That is the single strike Urshifu, not the rapid strike Urshifu that we know and love. This Urshifu really prefers to be able to trick him, going to have a hard time with that Fluttermane who has a huge type advantage. The Kyogre has a speed advantage, and suddenly Nick's looking really good.
I'm surprised they're using the single strike, because I like single strike. That was the one that I chose when I got my first Cupfu.
VGC for almost over a decade. Not only a 2-time regional champion, but also having multiple top cut performances in these huge international competitions. And he's able to get that call right in these game 3s. You know he's been here before. The work's not cut out just yet, as Nick is going to be moving into this next turn with a Rillaboom switch in, and this Fluttermane has full control right now.
Yeah, I mean, the Fluttermane kind of just got knocked out quickly the previous game. This time it's out for revenge. It's the quickest Pokemon on the field, no longer has to worry about...
Bro keeps cooking that Terra Grass. At this point, I don't know. I don't know. Sucker Punch. That's death. Why would you bring us... Why would you do that, dog? Does he know? Oh, he knows.
Maybe you're able to weave in just a bit more damage with the Meteor Beam from the Lunala as you get this special attack boost and the Power Urge to be able to make it go quickly.
Roaring Knight.
Unfortunately, it has to hit into the Rillaboom and the Assault Vest.
Roaring Knights. I did not know that Noel had a cousin named Roaring Knight.
2-0 and 2-1 at the end of the previous
Is it like Roaring Moon? Do they look like a Roaring Moon? If so, that'd be pretty cool, dude.
I think having the Pokemon advantage is even more devastating here. Your Calyrex gonna come out. It could also potentially use a Trick Room here, but Fluttermane able to use a Taunt if it's needed, and Nick's got a pretty great positioning here, making Urshifu look a little Urshifoolish that previous turn, and he could be right about to send himself to the top cut.
I mean, it's tough here too, because this Ice Rider Calyrex, not only can it not terrestrialize, but you're staring down a Fluttermane that's able to hit you with...
Oh, that Necrozma looking guy. Oh. Yeah, I recognize them, but like, I only seen like memes and stuff about them. Oh my god. Oh, let me tell you. So I recently got back into playing Roblox. And I looked at the different like avatars. For some reason, there's a Ultra Necrozma yeah, there's a weird like Ultra Necrozma avatar But the avatar has no arms. And it's like, why? I didn't buy it, but it's like, why can you become it? It's so funny though. Yeah, okay, let me just walk into this lobby or obby and just walk around as Ultra Necrozma. God.
Now potentially either these Pokemon use Trick Room. All of the options are available for both trainers, but Nick is still right on the precipice again. But he was right on the precipice of losing before, and it was able to be turned around. So we'll have to see.
Precipice? Are you talking about precipice blades?
Not over yet, especially if you are managed to get that Trick Room set up on either of these Pokemon. Torkoal can come in and at least deal.
Not gonna lie, I think I think Sandstorm would go kind of crazy.
Waiting in the back, you know, it's really, really tough from here.
You know, not gonna lie.
This Buttermane is going to commit its Terra.
Yeah, I wonder if you're trying to see like, maybe a Moonblast and a U-turn could pick up the knockout in this.
Because like,
which maybe sets up a world where the Kyogre could finish the game.
You know, I really do think
and it is going to take it down quite low.
I think Sandstorm, like, you know, T-Tar and Sand.
His final two Pokemon. This Ice Rider Calorie that is able to set up this Trick Room that might be a little bit better off. But
who else? I mean, I say T-Tar and Excadrill.
And make sure that you've got a bit more control.
For now, it's going to be the Calyrex at Nick's side of the field entering
I
the
don't know.
battlefield once again.
I'm just spouting words at this point.
Without sending Kyogre back out and, you know, changing the weather before Torkoal comes back in.
And the glacial lands, I think,
because I'm seeing too much rain and too much what do you call it? Too much rain and too much sun. Where's the Sandstorm, dude?
I'll give it a attack boost, and we saw how big of a difference that could make even in a troublesome game in Game 2 for the Calyrex at Nick's side of the field, but things are a little bit bleaker here. No Trick Room setup this time. Torkoal going to need to enter the battlefield as the final Pokemon on his side of the field. Rillaboom is going to come out for Nick here, enabling him to switch out into Kyogre whenever he wants to and get the weather control for the remainder of this battle.
That is tough though, because
Torkoal.
you are in a spot where you have a couple of decisions you can make. If you're the Rillaboom, do you go for the fake out onto this Ice Rider Calyrex? Are you actually okay with switching in this Kyogre in order to take an attack from the Torkoal? You have the choice specs. I mean, that is a good thing for Nick to know, is that this Torkoal has to lock into something for the rest of the game.
Yeah, that's true.
That would be pretty cool if we got a Mega Reverum. You know, he'd be like roadkill, and then eliminates all the opponents. It's like if your Pokemon looks like an animal, or no, if the Pokemon in front of you is on 4 legs, it automatically OHKOs them. Imagine how crazy that would be. Gets rid of Torkoal, gets rid of Glastrier and Spectrier.
But Torkoal has to lock into something, and it is going to be the Weather Ball. So
it's a steel type move, so it's also gonna hit it's gonna hit Lando, Therian. Eliminates all Deerling. Oh, it also OHKOs Xerneas. Kills Xerneas.
This Whatever is going to come down, and at the end of his turn, I think Nick will have an insurmountable advantage.
Yeah, Chihong is already getting ready to shake Nick's hand after.
Oh, look at that OHKO! Oh my god, look how crazy. Okay, I gotta go make some lunch. I gotta go make some lunch. So I'll be back in about like a couple minutes. Couple? Oh no. Y'all, I need like some sort of like e-girlfriend, and like we gotta go to like the Pokemon Championships and stuff. Okay, let me go actually make my lunch.
I don't think anyone would have blamed him. His opponent was playing so well, sort of a tough sort of line to read into, and he was able to find the right way through the game. I think the other thing I'd really love to just identify that Nick did so well there is he took 45 seconds almost every turn, right? I think that was a really complicated game. Obviously, the stakes were as high as they're ever going to be in the Swiss version of the tournament, and he made sure he made his best move every play. You know, a lot of lock-ins at 1 second, and I just thought that was such like a mature, experienced way to approach that situation. Really proud of him, kind of, you know?
Super meticulous and such a job well done here for Nick Navarre. But I want to give some major kudos to Chihong, because in this tough matchup, you were still able to win that first game off the back of quite an unconventional lead and game plan. And unfortunately, while you weren't able to make it through the final 2 games to find yourself into the top cut, Chihong still finishes off this tournament as one of the best performing players from the Asia Pacific region, comes in as the Taiwanese Master Ball League champion, and that's just such a difficult feat to accomplish. So congratulations.
Yeah, absolutely. Incredible run, right? Where I was kind of expecting that this was going to be a quick one, where like there's a world where just looking at the team matchups that Nick kind of stops that one. But I thought there's just a great plan, you know, and you know, Junior wound up being like 1 read really away in game 2 from making that top cut instead, where I think it was just so impressive in such a challenging matchup. We were really kind of wondering how this team could possibly stand up to a Kyogre, but I mean, we all saw, right, where it was just that close, and I just think this is such a fun team. You know, no one else is really using anything like this. We haven't seen a whole lot of Kyogre.
Also, I don't know
really,
why I said like game, like e-girl. I meant like a gamer girl. I did like a gamer girl GF, dude. Also, no, it's not a shiny. Still not a shiny. I think at this point, I've made it to a minimum of like 1,000 encounters at least. Maybe like 1,500 at this point.
I mean, we saw last year at the World Championships, Diego Ferreira was able to do so well at Worlds with a hard trick room archetype. Chihong is going to be able to
I don't think my maybe my shiny shaman was like maybe just as long as this. Like shiny shaman, I am so glad, because that was my that was my second shaman apparently, because the first one I got through Pokemon Go, and then I immediately sent it to Pokemon Home, and then I was like, oh, Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl came out, and then it's like, oh, here's Oak's letter. I think, yeah, Oak's letter then lets you go see Shaman in Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl. And I'm like, oh, you mean I could have kept that Shaman in Pokemon Go, and I would have had a really good grass type. Oh, it's also the same feeling I had of Poipole. I had Poipole the very first time I ever had one in Pokemon Go. I immediately sent it to Pokemon Home, and then Sword and Shield, I didn't realize, oh, you catch 5 Ultra Beasts and get a free Poipole. Great. Wonderful. I could have had a really good Ultra Beast in Pokemon Go. Also, too, I only recently got back into Pokemon Go just because of, like, oh, you can get the shiny Galarian Pokemon. The Galarian, like, birds through that. Also, too, you know, luckily, I have one of the events research things in Pokemon Go, where if I complete enough, I can get Marshadow. Dog, Marshadow? I've seen so many, like, Pokemon, I've seen so many, like, videos of, like, Blunder, and I think Pokeaim also used them, too. But, like, oh my god, Marshadow? What an amazing mythical that is. It's like, yeah, let me attack you, but during calculation, I'm gonna steal your stats, and then I'm gonna use those stats against you. And it's like, oh, okay, Marshadow, whatever. That's pretty cool, I guess.
I was doing really well against Samazentas. I beat 6 of them in day 1, and I beat another one in day 2. So this is my first win this tournament that wasn't over a Samazenta.
So now the only mythicals I need are Zero Aura, and then Zarude. I'm pretty sure. Which is pretty crazy.
Like, my team's cooked a lot of
Zarude, I don't know.
definitely some
I mean, if I want to use Grass Dark, I'm just going to use Explosion, Tailwind, Shift Tree.
Some breaks,
Um,
I mean, it's Pokemon, so stuff happens.
I mean, you say that you got some breaks, but we also saw you
And then Zera Aura is just pretty cool.
last game against Ji-Hoon.
In general.
Especially to game number 2, where it felt like there was
like,
really
what an amazing, like, attack.
momentum
It's
started to
a
go in
physical
your
attack
favor.
and speed
Where
stat.
do you think that you were able to sort of take command of that match and start sort of piloting towards your win condition?
Yeah, so the early turns went really poorly for me, but there was just one pivotal turn in the middle where I got to get a leech seed on his Ice Rider, and he expanding forced instead of Moongeist beaming. He was really torn up about that one, like visibly, but because I think I lost the game if he had gone for Moongeist, but I didn't see better lines than hoping he didn't, and he didn't. So I'm still here.
Fair enough. And then going into game number 3, there was that turn 1 where you went for the taunt onto the Lunala. Was that like a confident read on your part, or were you just hoping that he wouldn't attack?
Yeah, I mean, like, he could have done either one, and either one would have been viable. Just, I got it right in game 3 after getting it wrong in game 2. I did get it right in game 1, but it wasn't that big of a payoff, so, I mean, I did decide that taunt was probably the better move there, but the fact that I opted out of it in game 1 and 2 did, like, push it more in that side's favor.
All right, well, real quick, I also want to talk about your team because we saw you get top 32 at NAIC with Kyogre and Calyrex Ice Rider, but you had like a Basculegion going on there. You know, it was a bit of a more unique take. What were you thinking for the team coming into this tournament? Were you trying to find a more consistent build?
So I really like
Also,
that.
too,
Just it's got the
Pokemon Go
where
is
week to
crazy.
go. Calyrex Shadow Rider is really impressive, so you kind of need it to not be week to go.
Pokemon Go is crazy because earlier this year it was like they were doing like a Pokemon Black and White thing, where it's like if you log on, you have a chance to go catch, I don't know, Zekrom or Reshiram, and if you complete enough tasks, you can get Cobalion.
It's not tenable in one of the matchups that we needed. So
The three Musketeer guys, and you can get 4 Genesects, each with their different forms of like their drives, and it's like okay.
All right, well, thank you so much, Nick. Do you have any shout-outs?
Thanks, Pokemon.
I've got tons of shout-outs. Shout-outs to my parents first. I love you guys. Tub Nation, I love you guys too. Emberflight Gaming. Specifically Gavin Michaels for building the team and honestly doing a bunch of the refining between Nats and Worlds and helping me with matchups and just really carrying me, honestly. Shout out to Gavin. He drawn in day 1, but I'll do what I can to carry on the team's legacy.
Not gonna lie, that would go pretty crazy.
More shout-outs. Hopefully this isn't my last time doing shout-outs, but I'm not gonna complain that I'm gonna get my shout-outs later. That'd be silly.
Much. Best of luck in Top Cut. We want to give you plenty of time to prepare because this tournament is going to keep rolling.
Imagine if there was a weather condition for poison called Acid Rain, and there was an ability called Sludge Rush, which doubles speed and Acid Rain, and Reverum got it. It'd be pretty cool, because it's like... Yeah.
Chip Ritchie here, and I'm catching up with Tate Duncan, who is a first-time competitor at this Worlds, and I'm also joined by his
Dog,
mom,
I could have been
How are
there.
you feeling, man? Your very
I
first
literally could have
Worlds.
been there,
Well, I
dude.
think it's amazing.
But not really.
Like my first Worlds, this is like my second year and I've already made it, which is phenomenal.
It is phenomenal. Congratulations on your success. Just to get to this point, tell us a little bit about your background. How'd you get started playing Pokemon cards?
Well, first to me it was just a hobby opening packs. Then once I came over to the store, hearing that there was this TCG game, so that's how I started. Now my road to Worlds was a friend, Wilbur Smith, actually went to Worlds Honolulu last year, and Mum and I realized that this was a real thing. So one day I thought we should get into this, and here I am.
And here you are, just like that, snap of the fingers, and here we are. I want to ask you, Mom, do you have a favorite moment from this season, kind of traveling and watching Tate compete and get to this accomplishment?
Yeah, it's been a long season, so I think actually locking in Worlds was a favourite because you don't really know if we're going to make it or not. So many cups and challenges and a lot of coaching and then travelling for regional internationals.
You know what we need to do? Swell a lot of these Pokemon that only have like two evolutions, like they only evolve once. They need a third evolution. So Pokemon like Swalot can use an Eviolite, because then that'd go pretty crazy.
One match, and guess who beat him? I was the only one who beat him.
So you were able to defeat the champion. Maybe you're the champion, you know, in our hearts. Absolutely. Well, talk to us about this Worlds. What are you most looking forward to? What are you expecting to get out of this weekend?
I don't really care about my ults that much, despite like trying to do well. Like I really hope to have a lot of fun, and like that's what I originally had TCG for.
And what do you hope for Tate this weekend, Mom?
Also to have a lot of fun, and he's met so many people that we're now friends with, and we've met in New Orleans and we met in London, and yeah, just to support everyone, and it's just not only the juniors, it's the seniors and the masters as well. It's the whole community and backing the Australian team.
Look, if I'm ever in like a seniors or masters division, I will absolutely bring like level 1 Probopass app.
Open some packs, starts wanting to play. What would your advice to them be?
I think the biggest thing is
and I'm gonna bring like I'm gonna bring Trick Room too.
And really trying hard for cups and challenges.
Yeah, there you go. Make Goodra make Goodra even better, because Goodra needs more stuff.
Put in the training, and you need to commit, get your cups, get your challenges, and commit to regionals.
Oh, that'd be pretty crazy. A poison dragon.
And this is just the icing on the cake, isn't it? The cherry on top. Like, making it to Worlds was phenomenal. But yeah, you have to commit to the child. It's like any sport. Do the practice, do the training, find the cards, and hopefully have success.
All right, Tate, you got any last words to say to anyone out there?
Well, I want to give shout-outs to my coach,
I want to give shout-outs to Simple Flips. Shout-outs to Blunder. Shout-outs to Pokey Aim. And shout-outs to the whole Vine Sauce community.
And all the competitors.
Good luck to everyone out there. Best of luck to you this weekend, Tate, at Worlds.
Welcome back, trainers. Jim Lawson here in Anaheim, California for the Pokemon World Championships 2025. I'm standing by with Chip Ritchie, who's going to be acting as our tour guide here at the Pokemon World Championships History Museum.
Yeah, thanks, Jim. This is a very exciting
2010 to 2025. Man, I can't believe it's been that long.
A really great look back into the history of Pokemon Worlds, the biggest event every single year. There's a timeline so you can see where we've been in the past.
Whoa, look at that! Look at that Pikachu! Look how cool that was!
Where we've been in the past, you get to see.
Yeah! Whoa! It's like Xatu plus like Ho-Oh, like dog, I love that.
Examples of competitor kits from years past.
That one was last year. I remember that one because I tried to introduce myself to someone on a dating app. I was like, hey, you want to watch the Pokemon Worlds thing together? And then they were like, stop bothering me. And it's like, dog, we literally matched with each other. What do you mean, don't bother me?
World Championships as well. Pikachu's been joined by tons of other casts of characters. One of my personal favorites.
Oh, that's cute.
Machamp with the Letterman jacket.
I love the Machamp, absolutely. You know what I noticed though, Chip? Wasn't the first time that we've seen a plushie from Anaheim. It's not our first time in Anaheim for the World Championships.
Yeah, that's right. This is actually the third time the Pokemon World Championships have been held here in Anaheim. Previously, 2006 and 2017 took place in this same building.
Well, we have lots more to look at. Let's move on to the next exhibit.
Sludge Survivor. Survivor needs a new evolution. It does not need a Mega Evolution. It needs a new evolution.
Walk us through what trainers can expect here at the Wall of Champions.
Yeah, you get to see
Yo, look at that dog. That's pretty cool, dog.
Became a world champion that year in each age division.
Mawile.
Of the franchise, alongside the Pokemon they used.
Look at all the Kangaskhans and the Lando T.
Or their trading card game deck list. This is just one of the many different features here at the World Championships History Museum. So much more to see.
I like Overqwil. I don't know why. I've been using like Eviolite, Hisuian, what's its name? Hisuian, the one that's not overcoil, the baby one. I don't know why I've been using the EVLite one. It's just like, oh, whatever. But I do, because I use like Pain Split, T-Spikes, Taunt. You're right, it is Joe Recoil. What is it? T-Spikes, Taunt, Pain Split. Oh, and Aqua Jet, just to do like some sort of chip damage. And like somehow it counters, it always counters Grim Snarl. It's so funny. But I should probably be using Overquill instead of the...
We give our players some time to relax before we get into those key battles. Now, we know who's going to be in Top Cut. We have a little bit of knowledge on their teams, their play styles, their histories, but we also have a feature match prepped. So what I figure is we can have that footage on in the background while we, you know, talk about...
Oh, look at that Hisuian Electrode. Look at him down there.
Coming up, because we have the footage from the side TV. We show the footage from the side TV. Am I right?
Yeah. I feel like this is the best problem to have when there's so much going on and so much to talk about that it's like, I guess we have to have all of it, right?
Yeah. And you can listen with your ears to what we're saying. You can watch with your eyes with what's going on, and then your brain does two things at once, and you feel productive. It's great. I love it. Yeah.
That's a value.
Yeah.
You're getting 2 for 1 here on the Video Game Championship Series stream.
Oh, look at that. Joji. I don't know any of these people.
Joji Kaeda versus Masayoshi Kuro. And there you see the leads on the stream. And let's go ahead and while we get this match started, I'm going to go ahead and pull out my handy dandy cheat sheet and pull up the bracket because we have a buy-in round for Top Cut, as it is an asymmetrical Top Cut. Those matches will be Nick Navarre, who we just saw on stream, versus Carlos Cabal, Maddie Morgan versus Masayoshi Kuro.
Hold on.
Spoilers.
Shoot. Oh, wow. I figured you had one job over here. I had one job over here.
Trainers, I have a prediction for who is about to win this match.
I will not take you up on that. I might have to agree with you.
Oh my god.
Can't miss them all, right?
We also have Theotime Masu versus Cedric Bernier and Eric Brock versus Choppa Cross. So those will be our first 4 matches happening in the bracket. I believe we'll be featuring 2 of those matches, one on our stream, one on the side stream. So that should be pretty exciting.
I feel like this whole World Championships has been really exciting. Seeing who is in Top Cut and the caliber of these players is amazing, especially too when you're looking at the regional differences, everything else. I think that has been quite interesting to see who's been able to come out on top, because I mean, when you're looking at NAIC and who was able to make a big splash there, specifically regions, I feel like we got a lot of that flipped.
Yeah, we did. And I think the one thing that really jumps out to me coming into day 2 in particular and the Top Cut is the variety of restricted pairs that we've got. Is
crazy.
So where you think,
personally, I would have attacked the one on the right, the dragon.
But there is so much variety. I think we've got 2 Kyogre teams in Top Cut. I think Cedric was one of the other players outside of Nick that is running Kyogre and has been able to get them. So it's really nice to see the diversity, and I think it gives a really good reflection of the format in general as well.
Yeah, I think there's still like creative solutions to it, right? Where like we're looking, like, oh, you know, at this point in the format, you know, the top teams tend to be pretty well.
Personally, I would have brought Walking Wake.
I was really impressed by really both Nick and his opponent last round. I feel a little bad for poor Nick. I was kind of hoping he would make it through and get a little time for a breather, because it's one of the more stressful matches of Pokemon I can recall seeing.
Oh,
but hey, you know, it's the World Championship. There's no time off.
You were commentating that match.
Yes,
there was
I'm
a
here.
Game 3.
Yeah.
Your curse is broken.
Oh yeah,
that's true. Yeah.
What? Survives on 1 HP.
But no, that indeed, I feel like I was watching that match and I was getting ready to go on stage. Like I had one set of questions all prepped. I knew exactly what I wanted to ask, and then I was like, nope, we're gonna go ahead and come up with something completely different, because that match really flipped around a bunch
and then
of
he
times.
dies.
It felt like
yeah.
it was very dynamic, and it really was anybody's game.
I mean, I think I always love watching a match where, like, you come to the end, like, oh man, both these trainers are maybe better than I thought they were. Or, everyone can't win both players can't win a match, right? It's just not the way it works. But I thought both of them just played really well. And hey, you know, at this level, sometimes you play well and lose.
Yeah, that's how it is, and it's only going to get more and more like that as we approach Top Cut, because now we are at that level where, honestly, any one of our trainers could become the next world champion. I mean, obviously, it's always like that coming into the World Championships, but you have to imagine that these players are really feeling that right now.
Well, especially, too, looking at the runs that all the players had to go through to get to Top Cut with the caliber of players at this World Championships, there is absolutely no free ride. Players will always talk about, like, how tough their schedule was, or, oh, maybe my day one was a little easier. You're not really getting any freebies here. I mean, you're talking about a stressful match for our broadcasted players. So many of the matches out on the floor have been exceptionally stressful.
Yeah.
So I feel like, too, when you're talking about how deserving these players are for any one of them to take the World Championship title, that's been something that they've been earning since their very first match, and it's crazy to see what they've been able to accomplish so far.
Yeah, it's such a monumental achievement just to get to this stage of the tournament. I mean, you know, when you...
Asgore's Pokemon team would probably be Go-Go, both Nidos, Kingambit, Hamrot, and Mega River Room. I mean, yeah.
There is, like you say, there's no...
Wait, who was...
no,
whatever.
The toughest games each and every round, and it's the kind of...
I imagine the electric guy went first.
Just keep it that level. It's just incredible to see from our players.
Yeah, Volt switched.
And you, like you say, Gabby, so close in touching distance almost. And I think it's now, you know, like Aaron was saying earlier, you kind of got to block out all the noise and just concentrate on what's in front of you and try and move on to the next round. As tough as that might be.
I think the thing that really impresses me too is kind of just like the soft skills of this, where, like, you know, players spend, you know, learning their team, learning how much damage moves they'll do, what trainers tend to do in situations, but like kind of being able to access all of your knowledge in the moment.
Shiny Ensign.
Like both staying focused, but also kind of like just doing the right things. Where I'm always like a stickler for this, but man, like, with the really complicated game I just watched, I was really happy that both the trainers are taking their time to enter their moves. Where, like, especially when you have a gut feeling, I think it can be really tempting just to kind of lock in a little too quickly, and like, you know, maybe after 40 seconds, like, God, I still want to go with my gut, but you know, why not take that time to make sure? You know, you spent 3 years preparing for this. What's 40 seconds?
Yeah, well, I mean, you're talking too as well, like these players and everything else, talking about their prep going into it. Oh, I'm good versus this.
Also, is Asgore using poison types because, like, he was intoxicated while drinking or something like that? Is that what it is?
Seems small. Oh, it's the same team, but there's a capitalization that's different. But things like that really making a huge impact. Like something we saw yesterday was the Terra fighting on his Amazenta, so that all of a sudden, any preparation that anyone had done up against the body press is completely off, because now it's terrestrialized.
Oh, what do you mean it didn't kill?
Right?
It's like the low kick situation on the Koraidon. That pick as well.
And a Terra Electric Miraidon right in front of us, right? It's the same sort of thing where
it's pretty crazy.
These, like, you know, dazzling gleam kind of chip damage based Miraidon. Yeah, actually, I'd prefer just to one-shot you instead.
And also, even on top of that, like Nick was just saying in the interview I did, you know, leaving Basculation behind and putting it
well, we know who wins this. Because someone's faster. Oh no, I didn't realize he still had a Rilla in the back, which means he gets rid of the electricity.
On day one, for maybe a good 6 or 8 hours on day 2 if you're lucky. And then, of course, Sunday, you have all the lights and then you just turn that up to 100, because who knows what the arena is going to be like.
Ah, you're right, King and Queen.
Like, I wonder if anybody's
How did I not like put that one together?
I already have stage fright on behalf of the players, honestly. Like, you think it's nerve-wracking being in the finals, and we've just upped it 100%. It's going to be crazy, though.
It's kind of crazy to think that that's what it's going to be tomorrow, you know. When it comes down to those two players and they're going to walk out and it's going to be in that environment, and yeah, the stage is already like a great place to kind of be showcased, but you know, it's elevated to such a different level now. It's awesome.
I mean, it's crazy how much things have changed since we started, right? I think the first World Championships where I was watching a finals, you know, the whole crowd, we were in like a tiny room, like you could sort of see the seats behind us. There was like one section of those seats was the whole audience for the World Championship finals, right? Now it's going to be a stadium. It's
okay, I was going to say, without the electric terrain, it would have absolutely survived. And in this kills? I mean, it's 2v1 now. I feel like you do win.
Yeah, it was a ballroom and a resort, and I remember the fabled will-o-wisp. I remember hearing that from all the way across the other side of the like resort. I digress. But it's incredible to see just how far we've come. And you're going to want to make sure to tune in to watch that if you're at home. So set your alarms now. Don't sleep through it. I hope I don't sleep through it.
I might sleep
Hey,
through it.
Gabby, VG is last. You can you actually, I think it's impossible for you to sleep through it. Thank goodness.
I mean, even just looking at this, because obviously, you might know the results of this one.
Asgore
This
is
the final round of Swiss that we are
blissfully
having on.
unaware of
Just
you.
casually watching while we talk, but I feel like too we can take the opportunity to talk about a couple of the people that we have seen fight through. Because early on, I mean, individuals that very early on in the day got enough match points to make it a top cut. We haven't necessarily really gotten to see them on the day. The trainers that, I mean, in my opinion, could be favorites to be taking this tournament. I mean, like, like, what a run.
I know, right?
Yeah, incredible. I think, you know, the team comp as well with the low kick, I think is like,
I think,
you know,
yeah, if he does die, the recoil should be enough to where Glacier can kill it.
Because, like we've been talking about, when you're coming in preparing for certain things, when something comes along like that that just throws off your whole game plan against that team comp, then where do you go? And I think those sort of tiny little tweaks and edges,
Or at least that's what I think.
just even a move change or an item change or a different territory,
Right?
can be
Or no?
critical and the outcome of a lot of games. But yeah,
What?
absolute tear.
I mean, it is super effective and stab.
Has to be one of the favorites.
Why would you like not double up on it though?
Mike Pell,
Oh, yeah.
featured yesterday on stream, didn't get the result that we were kind of expecting.
In like the opposite way, because some people come into the World Championships really confident, and the result they're not expecting is maybe going 3-3 day one. He didn't feel very confident heading into day one, and then the result that he didn't expect is only taking one loss and finding himself in top cut. Like,
Yeah, I think he posted too. He didn't have a whole lot of experience with the team, so learning on the job, maybe. But I mean, even more props to him. I think certainly, one of the strongest players we've ever seen. And hey, you should have knocked him out Friday, right? Or maybe he was a little easier to beat. It's just going to get harder and harder as the tournament goes on.
He's so analytical in his approaches as well. Like, if there's anybody who's out there right now probably looking at the teams that made cut, trying to find his lines, like, it has to be him.
yeah.
If not everybody else, but definitely him.
I have to say, really showing up at Worlds has to be U.S. I mean, after the North America incident of the no North Americans in top 8, I feel like people took that personally. I believe in, again, like we talked yesterday, never do math on broadcast, but I think there's like 7-8 Americans within top cut, and that I think is so.
I mean, at this
important,
point, do we really think
players that sometimes we don't necessarily get
that,
as much, or have great seasons, people like Giovanni Fiski, or even just like
do we
ones
really
like
think
Monty
there's gonna
who
be
break out before
any
us,
like
not just
like
top
Gen
cut,
10?
top cut.
Are there gonna be any good like box legendaries or DLC Pokemon that's going to like top Glacier, Spectrier, Zacian, Zamazenta, and what is it? Who is it?
After the circuit restart a few years ago, really maybe going to make those first big finishes.
And Miraidon and Koraidon. Because like this is like,
love watching the progression, right?
you know, they are so powerful.
It's a progression, right? Where some folks just do it their first try.
It's like
Michael
dog.
just winding up in the finals immediately.
I don't understand it, dude. It's just crazy.
Especially, like you mentioned, with how badly things went in New Orleans, I think people took the right lessons. Like, hey, all right, we did maybe deserve the trash talk that we got, but the way you stop that.
Memo Swine should get Swords Dances. I don't know why he doesn't get Swords Dances. Absolutely should. And in Hornleech, like, I would like give it that grass coverage. At this point, please, we need more Pokemon need to get more coverage and like better options. That's what I think.
Like a little bit back, which is crazy. And then again, when you're looking at people who have won a world championships, being able to and repeat that, of course.
Although I am not a big fan that everything in like what Gen 6, Gen 7, everything had Toxic, and it's like why would you run Toxic with like a starter?
Like a lot of the NA players do get talent these players are, and it is.
Because like, what was it? Was there's like some stall Pokemon ran toxic. Oh yeah, freaking Chansey and Blissey ran toxic. Some legendaries ran toxic. Oh, like Groudon ran toxic.
I mean, there is still really strong players from
Yeah, there's just like so many Pokemon that you would not expect to use toxic, and then they do. And then your entire game plan is just down the drain. Hornleech, Great Tusk, I don't, like, he really should not get that. You know, it's like, he's already got Ice Spinner to get rid of, like, grass types and dragon types. He doesn't really need Leech Seed, but it, like you said, it would be broken.
But then you also have, I think it was Joe who brought this up on the pre-show, which was last week, and then you brought it up yesterday, the whole odd year Japanese winner thing that we have in contention as well. Also, it's a double restricted format, which tends to go very well for Japanese players. I don't know, man. It feels like there's just so much still in the air as superstitions.
Also, that's a shiny Lando, isn't it? Because it looks more orange than usual.
And I think there's so many players. Well, any one of them, like,
oh, that's crazy.
Could potentially win it, and I think that's a genuine statement. I think the quality.
That was some crazy damage.
I wouldn't be surprised any one of those names actually being on the pedestal at the end.
Yeah, it kind of makes like no sense. Cause like, like Rhyperior, he has Horn Drill, Horn Attack.
Which superstition is
He has Duro Run, I'm pretty sure.
I feel like that's such an interesting.
Why not Horn Leech? It's literally like, I get it's a drill, but it's like a horn for it. Like, just give it to him. Like, more coverage for everything. Like, don't give everything toxic like they did for Gen 7 and 8 and all that. You know, especially Gen 5. Just give everything more coverage.
We don't really get to see them at World Championships, and to see the runs that they're making, especially when they come from different formats, it's the best.
Crazy.
It is just so inspirational.
That's what I
would love. Ooh, not me singing the Sonic theme.
Preparing for, you know, a global challenge style tournament.
Give Rhyperior Trick Room. That would be unexpected. But at least Trick Room is like, you know, I feel like Trick Room would be more, like you could work around a Trick Room Rhyperior. It's literally ground rock. Like you can work around a Trick Room one.
Honestly, the only other player I can think of that's really proven themselves
without him being entirely broken.
With, you know, the GC win this year, in addition to.
Let me make sure that's not a shiny.
I mean, I feel like a lot of it is passion for the game. There was a really big tournament in Japan, unofficial, for a lot of practice going into it. And looking at even just the online tournaments they did before the event, I mean, the amount of preparation they do, especially a little bit more centralized, which is where we can start to see a little bit more diversity, I think is really, really nice. So when you're looking to the other regions, especially since we have like our regional and international, it feels like a little bit more against each other sometimes, where for them it's a lot more collaborative.
That's very true, yeah.
People that just so much passion, of course, all the regions, but like it's just, I don't know, it's a different energy, I feel.
Yeah, there's something here about kind of just playing for fun, right? And you know, I think this is a fun game where, you know, the stakes are so high sometimes where it's kind of easy to get frustrated, like, oh, you know, if it wasn't for that one critical hit or whatever, where, hey, you know, if there's a whole lot of prizes anyway, you're kind of just playing for glory, like, all right, you know, it was still fun, right? Where, you know, I mean, I've seen so many matches where I think if I was on either side of the game, I would have, you could have to smile and shake the hand at the end there, right? Where, you know, it's hard to win this format, and, you know, we're kind of talking about the good end of like what's changed since NAC. Oh, you know, all these regions that maybe didn't do so well in New Orleans, you know, did better here. But I think the reverse is kind of interesting, and maybe all the competitors should keep that in mind. Where none of the top 8 players of the North American International Championships made day 2 here.
Yeah.
And I think some of that, it's just so hard, right? There's so many good players nowadays, and even players who are the very best, you know, they gotta have bad days.
I mean, when you're looking at the NAIC, I mean, the conversation was Italy dominance, right? Because that is exactly what we saw when we see Federico Camporesi and Marco Silva in the finals. after the seasons they've had. And then now going into the top cut here, only one player left from Italy, except Musico. I mean, it's been playing insane, and I've heard only like the greatest things. I haven't been able to catch the matches out on the floor. I've only heard the best from those matches. But that was a little bit of a surprise, I think, because even in our pre-show with players to watch, with how strong Italy's been, they got their own slide.
Yeah, it's been a running theme pretty much most of the season from Italy. You know, they've been so strong, and the regional events in EU have just been. Which Italian are we going to see? How many Italians are we going to see in Top Cut? You know, when we get there. So, and when you look at the regional championship,
okay, I'm back. I gotta go do something. Yeah, Crawdon, literally the coolest thing ever.
And then have you know, a Grand Slam, but hasn't really turned out like that so far. You've got Giuseppe, and Giuseppe's such a strong trainer, so consistent as well, and playing really well coming into this weekend. So, all hopes lie with them to take the title home.
All of Italy backing him. I mean, that just goes back to the conversation of the strength of the competition at this World Championships, because it wasn't just Italy. Like, it was shocking yesterday to kind of go through and see a couple of the players been knocked out, and it's not because anything other than the competition is so tough. Like, again, you have no free rides from round one. The competition is stacked, and it's
they should unban Arena Trap.
I know. I remember, so
Doug Trio and literally just Doug Trio. I mean, you're right.
And y'all took over for a bit, and I came back.
It's like they somehow they allow.
Marco Silva's out. Like, this person's out. This
I mean, do they allow shadow tag on
2 hours, and it felt like it was just a completely different tournament by that point.
What's her name? I don't know why I forgot her name.
Keeps it interesting though, right?
It does.
The one from Black and White.
To disappear again, honestly.
Goth as hell.
Well, I can guarantee you.
Do they allow her?
If you do, because we're just about at that point.
Yeah, actually.
We've got a Ho in cut as well, so that is a huge.
Made it.
Made it.
Yes.
So that is a big talking point, I think.
Yeah, I'm so excited to see that. Where I started. I kind of made the jump over from singles in 2010, kind of at the very end, where I went to U.S. Nationals that year, kind of just to meet people that I'd met online, kind of hang out, played a little VGC, but I literally hadn't played a game before until we were in line. And then I watched the World Championship that year. I saw Ho, like, I wish that was me, you know, and it never was, and it was kind of never Ho again either. But yeah, it's fun. It's a fun flashback, right? I think it's such a cool Pokemon.
That's the main thing too. Everything has everything has U-turn. People use flip turn. People use volt switch. Like, dude, like, there's so many things that you can do to literally counter trapping stuff.
Maybe the most specially bulky Pokemon in the format. So, I'm proud to see it do so well, and props to the player too. I think it's gonna be really hard. Like, all right, my season's on the line. I'm locking in Ho-Oh, you know?
Yeah, I love Ho-Oh, and I've been told multiple times that I kind of missed the era in which Ho-Oh could be viable, right? And then we had the beginning of this format, and we did actually get to see a little bit of Ho-Oh, and it kind of got snuffed out, like, pretty early on. So to see it show up here, the only Ho-Oh now in top fight, it's just been such a treat. And again, where any of these meta adaptations and these calls going into the tournament pay off huge.
Sorry, I'm trying to eat a popsicle while also trying to like do 3 things at once.
What would have been thought to be the most use restricted coming into this tournament in Miraidon, I think it's an even braver decision to be like, oh, I believe in this one. I believe in this restricted. I think this is the one that's going to carry me all the way. And, you know, when you look at a lot of the new comps that are kind of coming around, like the Ice Rider Koraidon, those teams are really going to struggle to hit the hole with damage. So it's a really smart choice.
So, refresh my memory. It has to be Terra Grass, right? Because it's not.
Terra Water.
So you're really just struggling against Miraidon.
There's a lot of other Miraidon hate. I can't remember exactly what the team sheet is. I know Rillaboom's
Yeah.
Well, there's an Iron
And then like Doug Trio, like that's the thing with Arena Trap.
Just gets overshadowed by the fact there's a Ho-Oh on the team. Okay.
Hold on. With Arena Trap, it literally just like it forces a lot of Terra, like a lot of Pokemon to use Terra, and so it's like, boom, there you go. You trying to force someone to do something. Arena Trap.
Keep adding Pokemon. Maybe it'll solve all of my problems.
Yeah, the 15 Pokemon team is going to be incredible.
I just have to ask Professor Oak if I can hold more than 6 Pokeballs. That's how it works, right?
I'm sure, yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. That's all.
Sure. I mean, sure.
Well, yeah, he's our head judge this weekend, right?
Yes. Sure.
No, I'm really excited that not only did the Ho-Oh team make it, but just so many unique teams, so many unique compositions. You know, I think this going into this, I said this before, I'll say it again.
Yo, Pokemon Unite. I can't even tell what. Oh, there's a Blissey. Someone's using a Blissey. I can't tell what that red creature is. Venusaur? Yeah, Venusaur. I don't know. I don't play Pokemon Unite.
Here is our round of 32. As we mentioned earlier on, before we did our lovely review of that feature match, there are some people who will be playing a buy-in round for the top 16. There are some people who have locked in a buy. So as you can see there, some of those spots are already populated. So shout outs to Ko Sugide, James Evans, Naoto Kishida, Giuseppe Musico, Montana Ma, and Michel Pelch for all locking in top 16.
Yeah, I'm so glad to see Montana get that bye just because he got paired up like 2 or 3 rounds in a row. A tough thing to do there. So at least it was all for something.
I was also, James Evans, I was curious about if you would get top 16 because I know that he did get a bye earlier in the day, which can sometimes throw things off a little bit. Now that we have asymmetrical, it means like you'll still be in cut if you win out. But that top 32, there has been so many strong trainers that unfortunately, I mean, that's where they fall, right? So being able to squeak into that top 16 is really nice.
Hey, sometimes you get a little lucky, right? We've seen a lot of in-game RNG. I think I was talking to Ray Rizzo yesterday. He kind of like, oh,
yo, Ray Rizzo. I don't know. I've heard of Ray Rizzo. I don't exactly know Ray Rizzo.
We also have another side of the bracket, believe it or not. We're not done yet with our players who have buys. So Hirofumi Kimura, Victor Mendina, James Beck, Yoshitaka,
I'm so tired.
and Giovanni Shiisuke, excuse me, have all
Went to
also
bed at
locked in
midnight
top 16
yesterday
at this point in time.
because
So again,
I was making like I was making
This is a
sausage
huge
gumbo
leg up
yesterday,
in making
and it took me
closer
from
to
like
finals tomorrow.
when it took me like from 7 or 8 p.m.
I mean,
till
Hirofumi
12
and
p.m.
Mao, amazing. First off, I'm really glad to see players that have been having really strong seasons that we haven't
Oh really? It took
featured
me
too
like
much
2
before.
hours to
We
make
are
it,
looking at Giovanni
and then the
Shiisuke,
other
but
2
this is
hours
somebody
it
too
took me a
that
long
I
time to
remember
finish the
a
one
post
to
last
2
year where someone
bowls
was
I
like,
had.
who are a couple of the trainers we never
Just
really
because I
get to
added
see
too
broadcast
much
that are really
Tabasco
strong, that
sauce.
should. And majority of the
Oh,
comments
sorry,
were
excuse me.
about Gio.
Yeah. And then this season has been unlike anything other. We've seen a lot.
I'm really
of players,
hoping
especially in the second
that
half,
I can
and
get
now top
this
16
shiny
at the World Championship. I
Arceus,
mean,
and then I
first
can
in the
immediately
bracket.
switch over to
Yeah, such a
Pokemon
smart player, right?
Shield
You know,
and finish that
say this,
playthrough.
I'm across the pond and kind of viewing over, right? Broken record, but when Giovanni is one of those players, so smart, and whenever we do see him on broadcast, he just proves it time and time again, you know, and it's really great. I think after the back of that really strong NAIC performance to come into Worlds and then kind of back that up and go one step further and get to this stage and getting the bar.
Yo, James
just
Bake.
kind of
I know
looking at
James
from this
Bake.
team, you've got that, it's so invaluable. Where
Yo,
you're gonna be
where's
able to
Blunder
take a
or,
sit back, kinda take a minute, get
or
prepared for that
Pokey-Aim?
match, whereas a lot of
That
players
Pokey-Aim
have to
wasn't
play
gonna
now.
show up.
It's a little bit unfortunate where they're going to have to dive straight in and you know, keep that momentum going. Some players
Choice
like that,
band.
some players prefer that, not having the break, but a lot of other players like will appreciate that time where they can kind of just gather their thoughts and get prepared a little bit easier.
Yeah, I gotta say too, we're kind of talking how surprising it was how like how many of the big names we lost, even like early on day one. But on the flip side, kind of looking at both sides of this bracket here, I can't help but think like, I don't think I'm really surprised to see any of these people in Top Cut, where like maybe they're not like the names, like the first name they would have selected, but they're all be like, oh, well, of course they're good enough to be at this point of the World Championships. I think it really speaks to how deep the player base has become, where there just aren't enough.
Oh, we didn't even see this one with Reggie Lucky.
Who are good enough to be there, and I'm excited to see all these players.
And then the Raging Bull.
I
Okay.
don't know that any of them lifting
Crazy.
the trophy would be too super shocking to me.
And I think what excites me the most is that it feels like we're starting to write a bit of a new chapter for all of these players.
Excites
as well.
you?
There's
Yeah,
a big
nothing really
opportunity for a
excites
lot of
me
these
anymore.
players. Like this already is probably the biggest accomplishment on their resume, and to be able to add this and know that at this point every single win is just adding more and more and building to that, potential finals, if not victory at the end of the day, is really exciting. And I can't wait to see how these stories are going to develop. So that's all that we have here from the lounge.
I'm about to
don't wanna
say,
keep
I
you all
had
here
my
any
phone,
longer when
and
we
then
have
I
a
don't know
match
where
ready to
my-
go. So
where
Casters, why don't you take it away?
Where my phone went.
Thank you so much, everybody,
Agency.
for breaking down that Top Cut preview and getting us so excited for what's ahead. I'm pumped. I'm Rosemary Kelly. I'm joined once again by Aaron Cybertron saying, and we've got the utmost pleasure of bringing you our first match in our Top Cut bracket.
There are so many matches. I wish we could watch literally every
The
single one
great
of them. But I
little
think this one is
rock
full of
consumes me.
titans, and it's just two absolutely incredible players. James Beck, a name that many of you probably recognize if you either follow the VGC competitive scene or like to watch content on YouTube. James has been a menace, especially in dual restricted formats. Top 4 at Worlds in 2019, top 4 at Worlds in 2022, the last 2 restricted formats we had. He did that with Kyogre, and he's actually finally moved away from the rain and now has adapted to the sun, bringing Karide onto this tournament. But here he is in Top Cut after taking kind of a long break from playing Pokemon.
I know, this season he's taken it a little bit slower, not attending as many regionals as we've seen him do in the past. He still had some very good performances at the International Championships this year, but James comes in without any official tournament experience in this double restricted format for Scarlet and Violet, yet still finds himself in a Top Cut at the World Championships because that's just the type of caliber of player that he is.
Yeah, I honestly would have pinned him on Kyogre. I think he actually brought Kyogre to Worlds last year, and I think this is a big improvement from last year's Worlds. I think he may have gotten just like 0-3 drop last year. It just wasn't really in his cards, but this year he is back and he is looking
Does
to
have
get back to that
in
top
okay, so in
four.
Pokemon Go, like I have a few like shadow Pokemon.
How amazing would it be if the first tournament you won
As
was
far
the
as I know,
championships?
they're supposed to be stronger,
LAIC finalist
but
from
like,
this year. He got top 8 at Worlds
you
in
know,
2023 and has a
I don't
number
know.
of top fours in
Am I?
championships. Too many to even list on this graphic alone.
'Cause, like,
and I know he's been so hungry.
I don't know, because if they're shadow, aren't they stronger than like the purified one? I don't know.
LAIC champion from 2020, just such an incredible player, and that's why you said 2 titans of the game sit before us, and only one of them can move on to our top 8. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, and everybody watching at home. We are going to be starting with.
Okay, I'm gonna keep streaming until 3 p.m. And at 3 p.m., I'm gonna spend like an hour, hour and a half at the park where I can go and I can go like catch some Pokemon in Pokemon Go. And then I'll stream like later at like 8 or 9 p.m. Like later than usual.
Multiple tournaments. James, of course, using this brand new restricted duo of Calyrex, Shadow Rider, and Koraidon. Super offensive, not as common. He's got that Regieleki as well. As we take a quick look at Victor's team, crucially pay attention to that Smeargle, Pokemon that has been very prevalent.
Smeargle, I love Smeargle.
Here, but instead having Wide Guard.
Double Wide Guard on this team.
Why don't more people use Endeavor just to immediately kill something, dude? Like it doesn't even have like that much HP. So it's like, even if you don't Endeavor your opponent at like 1% health, and like no one touches the Smeargle, you're still doing decent damage on these legendaries. You know? I'm just saying, you know, look, I mean, I might be a Pokemon expert, but I'm just saying.
And not only do you have Wide Guard, which of course protects you from the Astral Barrage, you also are just normal types. You're immune to Astral Barrage from James's end as well, and that's a really big deal because if Smeargle just gets a single Spore off in this game, James is using Calyrex, Shadow Rider, he's using Koraidon. These are not very bulky restricted Pokemon. Putting them to sleep often will just allow you to deal with them very quickly afterwards, and so I definitely have my eyes out on Victor Smeargle in particular, and the question that I have is, how can James respond to it?
There's only one way that you're going to be able to bypass that Spore, and that's with the Rillaboom. There are no other cross terrestrializations.
Oops, I'm over here playing Pokemon Go and trying to do all these things at once.
And that's where we do look at something like the Regieleki.
Yo, James Bay.
Fast Pokemon in the format, alongside how this Shadow Rider Calyrex could be trained. You'll definitely be faster, and so that's one way that you can help knock it out of the park.
Yeah, I think there's a bunch of ways you can handle
I'm sorry, I didn't know it was raining outside. Why is there thunder?
despite it not being a grass type.
I'm like, oh, it's raining in Pokemon Go right now.
So,
Why,
Safety Goggles actually doesn't feel as
it shouldn't be that bad. I'm sorry, what?
I think Goggles here could actually be a super relevant item because it gives you an additional defensive line into Smeargle.
T-Tar should get Guts as a hit ability. Yeah, I don't really like a nerf T-Tar. Because it's like, why would you ever use a nerf? I mean, a nerf is better on other Pokemon, just not T-Tar.
They're able to get that Trick Room set up, but could be potentially relevant in this matchup where Victor
That was
has
weird.
Nasty Plot Calyrex, right? Imagine getting +2
That
from
was
Nasty Plot and then you
weird.
just get roared out immediately. You could also use Roar into Zamazenta and get rid of that defense boost, which is really nice. And so I think, James, of course, we have to talk about that Regieleki as well. It's a really unique Pokemon. James is actually the only Regieleki player in the entire tournament, and there's a reason for this, because Regieleki is not an easy Pokemon to execute. The idea behind it is that it's very, very fast. You can Electro Web, drop your opponent's speed, allowing you to outpace things afterwards,
Chimecho,
especially
Candy,
with that Groudon.
Particle,
Kind of similar to like
and then
Fluttermane
Fast
Groudon as a lead,
TM,
but
okay.
it's not the easiest Pokemon to use in this matchup either, because you don't do a lot of damage, and you're staring down Raging Bolt.
Raging Bolt, the Assault Vest onto the Rillaboom that also has that great defensive
Oh, I need to
typing.
start powering up my
Could be a
Pokemon.
little difficult, but I think also depending on how these Shadow Rider Calyrex are trained, one Electro would help you seal the deal versus the opposing one, and so I think we'll really need to see
Okay, I need to
what is
start
led here, as well as the speed interactions of
getting
this
rid of some of
particular
these.
Yeah, I think Rillaboom is probably the least likely Pokemon to be brought from either ends, and one thing that Victor has done a ton in this
Yeah, because like the only Pokemon that rely on their ability, because like what was it, like stuff like Iapapa Berry and like those other ones that used to heal like, those used to heal like 50%, and then like what, Gen 7 or 8, now they only heal 33%. Yeah, there's like no reason to like, there's no reason to even use those anymore. Of course people use Citrus, but you know, it's like it's like meh.
And gives you a little bit more firepower against Regieleki, which otherwise actually could be a little bit annoying. So I'm curious, does James bring the Volcarona?
Citrus is something most people I feel like aren't using Lumberry anymore, unless it's like on a what, defensive Pokemon. Oh, Pokemon with quad weaknesses, they're gonna run their quad, they're gonna make their quad weakness into like a ×2.
Especially to Victor's lead.
You know, stuff like that.
Well, because it's so easy to potentially just switch out, for example, and like, you know, there's Incineroar in the back. You can see Victor considering just going for Terra, Nasty Plot plus Fake Out here. This is one of the advantages of using Smeargle. You're going to be max speed. You can outspeed.
Ooh, I gotta get rid of this Shadow
and
guy.
prevent them from getting a move off. The nice thing about Rillaboom is you will be able to
Smear. I keep forgetting to press the thing.
right? And so you do have that priority.
I'm getting rid of Pokemon and trying to free up space.
James could use this opportunity to switch out his own Shadow Rider Calyrex and maybe bring in something like the Incineroar, get the Roar off, but you would have to take that Astral Barrage first. And as we see the Terrestrialization committed, we know that's going to be going onto the Shadow Rider Calyrex to give it that Dark Terra and that really great defensive typing.
Yeah, Dark Terra, both players have on their Calyrexes, and it's just so good because it gives you that immunity to Psychic.
Ooh.
And both players are going to commit the Terra here, with Victor's carrying first. So one of the things to pay attention to is who has the faster Shadow Rider in this matchup.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think that was James's actually on the other side.
Okay.
That did Terrestrialize first. But it's hard to tell, right?
Yeah.
Because we do have that mirrored on either side. But the Fake Out is also going to be faster for Victor. So Rillaboom is not going to be able to get a chance to move this turn. James has decided instead of going for the Astral Barrage, you're able to use the Psychic into the Smeargle, already bringing it down to its Focus Sash. That is going to be the only move that James
I
has
gotta
with
evolve
Shadow Rider
poison
Calyrex that will be
types.
able to do damage. But Victor gets this Nasty Plot off for free.
So you do get the boost up here, and now you're threatened by Grassy Glide just not.
Again, we need Zangoose and Seviper, both of them, to have like, you know, they need to have like new evolutions, not mega evolutions, but new evolutions.
Victor's also saying, well, I think you have to respect the spore possibility, so why don't I take advantage of this and switch in the Incineroar?
And it's tough too, because how is James actually going to be able to damage this Calyrex? We already saw the Psychic. You're not able to use that since the Dark Terror Calyrex would be immune. And so now as the Incineroar comes in, it's also kind of nice because you're getting an Intimidate drop onto this Rillaboom while also being able to take a Grassy Glide better.
Absolutely. Calyrex actually just opting for a protect here. Doesn't want to take any damage and, you know, try to avoid that potential spore. And so this is James's other response. He's saying, you know what? I can get around the spore if I just protect and maybe launch a Woodhammer into your Shadow Rider. But let's see how much this does. +2 Life Orb. Oh, fall short of the knockdown. That is Solvis being
almost.
huge item.
Almost killed.
Oh, and the U-turn, Rillaboom actually goes for the U-turn. I was going to say, if it does go for the Woodhammer, likely would knock itself out to that recoil, but instead decides to go for the pivot, and now we'll get a chance to see what else James has brought in back for this first game. Looks like it's going to be the Regieleki. What a cool Pokemon to bring in.
Yeah, it's cool, but where do you go from here? You just protected your Calyrex, so Incineroar pivoted out. That was a great switch by Victor, playing one step ahead and even conserving Smeargle. So now you have Fake Out Astral Barrage really freely, right? And so I think...
Yeah, like that's the main thing. So, like, Seviper is a snake. It needs to be fast. It just isn't fast, unfortunately.
With that Fake Out will definitely put it in KO range of another Astral Barrage. And so just opting for the safe Fake Out option here, Calyrex realizes I do not want to take...
And a Zangoose with 115 speed and guts, yeah.
Rillaboom is going to be coming back in, and it's that sucks.
And like the good thing is that Zangoose is a normal type of guts. Like no one can hex you now.
At the end of this turn, if the Incineroar hadn't knocked it out to that Fake Out, but it is close. Victor still gets away with it. +3 Shadow Rider Calyrex is going to run away with this game.
Yeah, I think the upside for James right now is that at least your Regieleki is Focus Sash, and the Dark Terra should save Calyrex, I think, from getting one-shot by the Astral Barrage, but it is looking really, really scary. I think the advantage, though, that James has is that you do have the fast Calyrex, and you have Regieleki, so this next turn, you do pressure with a lot of damage, right? But Incineroar's looking pretty decent. I think Koraidon actually maybe makes the most sense to come out now for James, and then you can pressure with something like Electro Web plus an immediate attack from the Koraidon. Try to get a knockdown. If you are Victor,
Ursaluna Glass Cannon.
Rider, then,
like the only thing going for it is like a Swords Dance quick attack, I would say. I'm pretty sure it gets Belly Drum too, but like I don't know. That's really situational for him to even get that. To like hit it.
So that is something that you can also use as a sacrificial piece. But the fact that it does have the Fake Out, really nice thing to have as one of those free switches, so you can guarantee that you're going to be able to get damage off with this Calyrex. So it makes a lot of sense here. Protect the Shadow Rider Calyrex on your side if you're Victor, and also go for some type of pivot with the Incineroar and just hope for the best. We'll see the protect first and how James decides to respond to that now.
I think James is exerting a ton of offense right now, so this is a little bit scary for Victor because, like, Regieleki's Electro Webs, it's going to miss the Incineroar. Not really super relevant from a damage standpoint.
No shiny.
Collision course here, and so this turn works out really, really nicely for Victor. I was saying it's a little bit scary because we're getting to this point where, like, you can just Electro Web plus get a bit of
Parting shot, dude. Isn't it just going to go for Electro Web?
Of Calyrex plus Koraidon as a duel. So many opposing Calyrex.
Oh yeah, you're right. I mean, Facade is, I mean, there you go. It's at least got, you know, the three moves that kind of synergize with each other.
And then afterwards go for an Electro Web plus.
Okay, I have 3 Kabutsos. I need to figure out which one to get rid of.
I was like, ooh, but defense. But yeah, it is.
Okay, this one I can get rid of.
So many options, and I think James still needs to get a
Smeargle.
in order to really take advantage of that offensive pressure that he has on the field.
The thing I think this turn is probably not going to be a huge turn. The next turn is what I'm really thinking ahead towards, because let's say you just go Fake Out Astral this turn. The next turn then becomes this mind game of, oh, do I wide guard because you're going to Electro Web, or do I just go for a follow me saying you're not going to wide guard, right? And so I think, yeah, I'm already thinking one turn ahead. I think this turn, because there's Fake Out pressure, if you are James, you definitely do not want your
mixed attacker and Acid Ring, you're right.
So we'll see the Regieleki.
Oh, I can evolve some of these starters, but I'm not going to.
Following suit. So Victor is going to get denied this Fake Out plus Astral Barrage combo, but here's where you were.
Okay, I have too many Meryl. I need to figure out which one to get rid of.
In my opinion, of this game, I think whoever comes out of this turn with the advantage will very likely run away.
Okay, this one I can get rid of.
Let's see. It's going to be intense, and this is the mind game that you have with the Smeargle. So you obviously have Wide Guard. If you go for that Wide Guard, Electro Web then does not work onto either Astral Barrage, just picks up the knockout onto Koraidon. And the Shadow Rider here, of course, can just run away with it. going to be an attack boost, defense drop, so neither of those moody boosts relevant. So yeah, and then if you expect, like, it could of course not be the wide guard then, right? It could be a follow me. Like if you think it's going to be wide guard, you can just go for a Thunderbolt instead, and maybe like switch out your Koraidon, for example. And so yeah, I think like Victor here, yeah, he's thinking about wide guard's safe, right? And so yep, Koraidon is going to pivot, recognizing, okay, I just can't go for the Electro Web, otherwise I'm going to fall short. But I mean, this should give Victor a huge advantage.
I think so, especially because it's going to have to be the Shadow Rider Calyrex that comes in to take its place. And they're still going to be taking a ton of damage despite that Dark Terra. Wildcard comes out for the Smeargle, but if this Regieleki decided to follow up with that Electro Web, it is going to be denied. Regieleki instead goes for the Thunderbolt, not falling victim to that trap, and gets the knockout onto the Smeargle.
Yeah, Azumarill is apparently not that good in Pokemon Go. Because it's got like low power.
Yeah, I think I cannot stress how important it was that Victor conserved the Smeargle. I think it was actually probably always safe.
Whoa,
for him
look at all
to
these
Wildcard
Pokemon.
Because the Calyrex is already so boosted, so you do not out the Koraidon, and Shadow Rider presumably is faster. If your Shadow Rider is slower, then that becomes really scary. But basically, yeah, it's like, what do you do now, right? Now, if Raging Bolt hits the field, there is the pressure with the Thunderclap, and this was kind of my fundamental problem with Regieleki. I think it's just so hard to execute. You need to actually get an Electro Web off with it. If you don't, I think it's actually just useless. And with double wide guard pressure from Victor, such a big deal. But if he had stayed in with that Smeargle and it got knocked out by U-turn, this would be a completely different match because the Electro Web from Regieleki would have been able to actually get that speed drop. But now it's like, okay, well, you can get a speed drop, but how are you even dealing damage to the Shadow Rider? And then you can just Thunderclap everything.
Yeah,
why not Thunderclap? I don't know. I wasn't even watching, and it's like, you know it's gonna Astral Barrage. You have to kill it. And at that point, you know, I don't know.
Incoming, and that will get a knockout onto the Calyrex, and now Victor's Shadow Rider Calyrex +4 special attack.
Yo, Ekans.
Yeah, and Koraidon just comes back out, but now you can just Thunderclap into the Shadow Rider and knock out the Koraidon, and so this is looking really, really tough, I think. And yeah, it's just a huge
because he wants Grim Nay. That's why, okay.
Right? Having the ability to go
I would have been like, oh.
Makes Regieleki, I think, relatively useless. And
I've been like, ooh, I'm bad. I'm bad, guys.
Are you ever actually going to be able to accomplish that if Victor has any wide guard user out? But I think the key turn that I want to dial back into was that turn with the U-turn.
Oh, I can't get these boots because I'm not doing the battle. I'm not doing Go Battle League.
Now it's just Thunderclap and Regieleki face.
And this poor
what if I battle?
Is going to be next to follow suit after we see this final Astral Barrage of this game number 1. So congratulations to Victor Medina, up 1-0 in this best of 3. James in these next 2 games will have to bring it back, but when you take a look at those adjustments and think once again about the things you've already called out, this is Regieleki.
Okay, what if I do battle?
I just think it's so hard to execute well, right? Like, in my opinion, if you are bringing in Regieleki, the only thing it has to accomplish is get that Electro Web speed drop. If you don't do that, then I just don't think it's really accomplishing much. James maybe feels pressure to do it because he's like, otherwise I can't really deal with your Shadow Rider really well, but it's just really difficult, right? And Victor, like, smartly saving that Smeargle, I cannot stress enough how big that was for him.
But how much does James get a chance to take away the fact that he knows his Shadow Rider Calyrex is faster? I think that's also a key piece of information.
Oh god, I'm doing one of these stupid, like, battle things in Pokemon Go. Battle starting. Oh no, I'm gonna friggin' lose this! Snorlax, Mighty and I'm about to die, dog.
But then as we saw, the Koraidon slower than the Shadow Rider, right? And so it's really, really tough. I think if you're James, you might be thinking, okay, well, you just revealed Smeargle plus Shadow Rider as your lead, and so what are the possible counters I can have for that?
Whatever, let's do it.
Part of it is maybe just like double protecting and then damaging it. Although what's scary is like Victor so much frequently loves going for this Dark Terra nasty plot play, so you also have to respect that possibility, right? Because like that game felt like Victor was just clicking Astral Barrage every turn and James just had no response.
Then maybe you dream the Incineroar roll.
Yeah,
you just lead it right away.
I don't hate that. I think that's certainly one option, but looks like James is content running it back with Rillaboom Calyrex.
Maybe you have adjusted something in the back though, but it's going to be Victor that actually actually makes that small adjustment. You've got this Shadow Runner Calyrex is going to be next to the Incineroar this time around.
Yeah, so
Sure,
Incineroar
use up
here,
all my
we'll
stuff,
get that initial
whatever.
Intimidate onto Rillaboom, and that's big because one of the ways that James could try to deal with the Shadow Rider is, you know, you protect your Shadow Rider, you get a Wood Hammer into Calyrex, that does a lot of damage.
I'm not surviving whatever it wants to do.
Intimidate goes
Oh, I
really long
am.
way, though. So I like this because I think Victor also recognizes, like, wait, hold on, my Smeargle is actually really, really good in this matchup, and so I'd rather actually conserve it a little bit more until the end, right? He is going for that Dark Terra on Calyrex, though, so James theoretically could go for Fake Out onto Victor's Calyrex, Terra his Calyrex, and then maybe go
Let
for
me
something
do
like
my
an Acid
attack,
Ball.
dude.
Nah, it's so tough. I mean, when you think about like the Rillaboom as well as the
Yeah, like, I
Incineroar,
wasn't winning
I'm
any of
also
this, like,
feeling
for
pretty
real, though.
confident about,
I don't know what you
the speed
expected.
interactions there as well, and does that maybe that helps inform you about whether or not you can feel comfortable going for that fake out play. But for now, it is going to.
How are they immediately getting their attacks? Like,
James call it and
yeah,
go
okay,
for a Fake
dude.
Out onto the Shadow Rider slot. It seems risky, but it actually makes a lot of sense because you are
I,
staring down Acid Barrage
like,
Pressure as
dude,
well.
come
Once
on.
again, we're gonna see both players
Okay,
start
cool.
It just makes so much sense. In
I
this
can't do
matchup. Like, if
anything.
you don't, then you risk losing the game literally immediately on turn 1 to an Astro Barrage or a knockoff, and so this is a relatively safe Terra, and there's a reason why everyone is running Dark Terra on Calyrex right now.
Yeah.
Ooh, no fake out. Okay.
Sure, next battle.
He's gonna be the one that actually goes for that
Do I
damage slot as well.
whatever,
And so
use
we'll
this.
see those
Use this
damage
terrible
slots
team
here.
of unevolved
This is a huge
Pokemon.
turtle mode game too, Aaron.
Yeah, I would give
This
this
sucks,
advantage to James.
dude.
Gets the U-turn off as well. That's super effective damage. This is so much better for him. Now you can just go out into Koraidon. You've got the +2 boost on your Shadow Rider. You're faster. You threaten with just Collision Course plus Astral Barrage. And so it's actually going to be the Regieleki here, which I'm a little bit surprised to see over Koraidon, but it's going to be knockoff to come out here.
It is going to knock off the Life Orb that James's Calyrex is holding, and the critical hit certainly doesn't help either. It's going to basically even the score for the amount of damage that these Calyrexes have taken from each other.
Yeah, I think the upside for Victor here is you can just protect, and your Incineroar should survive a turn here. Like, I don't think +2 Astral Barrage plus Thunderbolt even knocks out the Incineroar, so you can see Victor hovering that so much, and he's like, okay, now I can at least switch into the Smeargle. I think you could Parting Shot here instead. This is a little bit scary, but I think theoretically it should always be Astral Barrage coming out here instead of a Psychic, so then the idea is Smeargle at least gets to come in, even if it gets brought down to Focus Sash, you have Fake Out active the next turn.
But is the Smeargle actually going to get knocked out? Like, let's say James calls it. You go
That would be
Psychic
crazy. If you
into
Psychic into that
Smeargle.
slot, then, like, kudos to you. I think this is, yeah, that would be nuts. That would be absolutely nuts.
Okay, well, let's find out, right? We saw the Protect first, and the Regieleki does go for the Thunderbolt into the Shadow Rider Calyrex. So, okay, we're safe from that turn, but I just saw the vision. And if James had gone for it, it's definitely a wild turn that puts him in such a favorable position. Right now, pretty even. James and Victor still with a pretty healthy HP total between everything, and the Smeargle actually gets a special defense boost.
Yeah, one nuance, by the way, as you called out, the knockoff onto Calyrex is a big deal because it removes the Life Orb. So I was thinking, okay, you should switch in Koraidon, but James recognizes, well, if I bring in Koraidon and then you get the knockoff onto my Calyrex, I don't think +2 Astral Barrage actually knocks out Victor's Calyrex. So that's actually the reason.
Oh my god, this is so stupid. Why would I ever play this?
Yeah, we were thinking,
I don't, no, I have
KO, the answer is
heal.
neither.
I need to go
For
heal.
free with full HP, so you are fracturing with Fake Out plus.
Oh wait, oh no, apparently when you go battle it doesn't.
Oh man.
Wait, is that a shiny?
Because now the
Hold
opposing
on.
Calyrex can't do anything.
No, it's not. Ugh.
Be a Thunderbolt from this Regieleki.
I'm legit trying to do
Down quite
things.
low, but with
All
the
it really
Psychic
needs to be
from
good is
James
speed
and
boost and
Shadow Runner
CC,
Calyrex,
you're right.
You bring that Smeargle down to its Focus Sash, but it's the return damage from the Shadow Runner Calyrex on Victor's side that's going to make such a big difference on this turn. Both Pokemon on the receiving end, Regieleki gets brought down to the Sash, and Calyrex so low.
This was a huge turn. So Victor ends up actually not going for, it ends up going for that wide guard, and James is not getting baited by it. So I was saying, okay, Calyrex can't do anything into the Calyrex, but it still can Psychic into Smeargle. You see Victor reacting because he knew, oh my goodness, I could have just actually clicked Spore that turn. If I click Spore, I might just win the game from that position. But now he's taking a lot of damage on a bow. This is so close right now, but you know, James does have the major speed advantage in the current moment.
This is why I prefer regular, like, the main games. I don't wanna play Pokemon Go stuff. Melmetal! What do you mean I have to fight someone's Melmetal?
Choose what you're going to actually fake out. This Shadow Runner Calyrex is still very low, and once this Incineroar comes in, you have two targets in front of you that are naturally faster
I'm not
than
defending.
Calyrex.
This is stupid.
This is scary for Calyrex. Calyrex, and this is where having the slower Calyrex really can be detrimental. So James deciding, I'm just going to also copy what you did and just go for Astral Barrages. And so Thunderbolt comes down, and Regieleki is actually doing really meaningful damage there with that attack.
Yeah, it's looking quite good, and that's another reason why Regieleki was looked at in the Sword and Shield era as one of these big powerhouse Pokemon. Good for speed as well as that special attack damage output, even if it was nerfed just a little bit here in the Scarlet and Violet era. And now, both of these Pokemon relatively low here for Victor. There's still a fourth Pokemon in the back that he can utilize, but this is so risky.
Whoa, okay. Going for the switch into Smeargle, going for a fake out here. I mean, from James's end, I think you could probably just double protect, but basically the theory here is if you double protect, I've gotten Smeargle out, I can wide guard, and then you cannot hit the Incineroar essentially. Neither Pokemon actually protect, and so Victor actually does get a knockout here.
The knockout onto the Regieleki is nice too, because you know the Smeargle then, it probably is coming in scot-free. And this Astral Barrage will hit the Incineroar, but you've got the Smeargle, which probably you aren't going to be psychicking into a Dark Terra, Shadow Rider Calyrex.
Yep.
So now the Incineroar gets knocked out. I think this is exactly
Why does this Melmetal get to constantly hit its move?
Calyrex or that Raging Bolt that can provide fake out support.
Yeah, it's going to be close. I think I definitely give the advantage to James right now in this game. I think he's handled the offense a lot better. Having this fast Shadow Rider is huge. Crucially, no Moody speed drop or speed increase there on the Smeargle. That obviously is always really scary.
Oh, that's funny. Moody is allowed in these battles.
Just like a fake out and a sidekick, and then things get really scary because James has now managed his Rillaboom really nicely this game as well, right? And so you, of course, have that Assault Vest. You pressure with Grassy Glide onto the Shadow Rider. And
wow, Blast Burn on a shiny. That is so cool.
Right? So, right now we're seeing, yeah.
No, I'm Googling this. Hold on.
It makes sense.
Hold on, let me put this over on this other. Oh, I'm messing everything up now.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Oh, but it doesn't protect!
No way! Let's see how James is able to capitalize on this. It just goes for another nasty block.
Yeah, expecting maybe a Thunderclap into... Exactly. Oh, and, you know, I think Victor's recognizing dealing damage in a Rillaboom is going to be really hard. I actually need to use Raging Bolt as effectively as possible because my Shadow Rider will actually be able to get an attack off, and so... I think the turn works out well for both players. Now you are still pressuring that Thunderclap onto the Calyrex. Calyrex, of course, could protect, but even go for another nasty plot. But oh my goodness.
I mean, it's actually kind of interesting.
Yeah,
now.
like, huh?
Smeargle actually get, I think, +4 defense from these Moody boosts. Does the Grassy Glide actually knock it out?
I would expect it to, but if the answer is no, that would be nuts. Like, that would actually be nuts.
Yeah, like Thunderclap into the Shadow Rider Calyrex feels safe because, well, okay, not anymore because of the Protect, but it still feels relatively safe because you would think that it would be the Psychic that goes into something like that Smeargle.
Okay, so they just had a really good freaking boosting thing.
Aaron, I don't know. We've seen some wild things this tournament.
If Smeargle survived that Grassy Glide, I'm just walking out of here. It's like, you can't get Spore and be bulky enough to take, like, that, fortunately, the good thing with Smeargle, I say, as a non-Smeargle player, is that its stats are just relatively frail. But that would have been nuts. I think, that being said, Victor maybe doesn't mind the switch in here. It's tough because I feel like he kind of...
Alright, time to get my butt kicked for the 4th time.
So that you don't fall to just a Grassy Glide, right? And so James's Rillaboom actually
Oh,
ends up
wow.
being really crucial here. I think
Too bad it's going to use Psychic and not the other
but it makes a lot of
one.
sense into the Assault Vest, or with the Assault Vest, and with the Incineroar being eliminated earlier on, Rillaboom becomes so much more valuable.
I was gonna wonder though whether or not James is actually going
Okay, what's it going to use? Ice Beam? Like, I don't know. Hydro Cannon. Oh, that's perfect.
And that's exactly what happens. We're going to see that Thunderclap feel, which means that James is going to be able to have this fully boosted up.
Okay, so everyone's just using like really fast stuff. Because how did he get to do Hydro Cannon 2 times? That is so stupid. Yeah, okay, let me do this thing that charges it super fast. Like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah, he's obviously feeling the pressure a little bit. He's like, okay, well, at least I know if I click Thunderclap, you will never get an
Gengar. Yeah, of course I
I'll
died.
just deal with everything else.
Okay, at least I have Lando.
Oh, it gets the double. Okay. That's huge. No more Grassy Glide to KO this Shadow Rider Calyrex. And while Victor is still going to be stuck, having done no damage in these past couple of turns, this is critical for him.
Yeah, absolutely needed to double to stay in the game. as everyone heals back a little bit more. And I'm also wondering, like, if there's any chance Calyrex is bulky enough where it would even be able to survive a grassy glide, because terrain is still up. And so you can see, oh, Victor's thinking of going for nasty glide. You notice it's the last turn of terrain, so it's like, do you want to go for a triple protect, or are you like, you know what, I feel back enough for grassy glide doesn't KO me. Thunderclap to come out, it doesn't get the knockouts.
That's such a big deal because James is able to use this turn to fire on all cylinders. It's going to be Astral Barrage into both and a double KO. James is back in this 1-1 in our first Top Cup match here at the World Championships. And that top 8 spot on the line.
Oh my goodness, that one. So
I can't do anything. I can't do anything in this PvP Pokemon Go.
But Victor was like, well, you could just Astral Barrage at any point. I think James like played through that massively, where he did not get baited by the wide guard turn. The main turn I would point
That is so stupid. Oh my god.
And it opted to go for
I don't ever want to do this ever again. I have to do one more now.
Like the Shadow Rider, I think it's a very, very different game, but that
Great lead.
feels like the absolute critical turn. I believe this is actually the turn that we were just talking about, but I like James's decision. He's like, look, I know that my Shadow Rider is faster, and I actually know that my Rillaboom is also a really strong Pokemon in this matchup, and just surviving with the sliver of HP is a really big deal. From Victor's end, like, having some priority early on would be nice. So I actually consider if he would ever bring his Rillaboom, right? Because look how low Shadow Rider and Alecki were in that last game. Like, I think that's one option. Zamazenta hasn't come out, and I mean, it is nice with that wide guard, but I think you might be scared of the +2 like Life Orb Psychic from the opposing side.
Yeah.
And so I actually could see Victor switching to either Rillaboom or Zamazenta here.
That would be a nice adjustment, but I also feel like both of these trainers must have had a lot of experience playing against this archetype, especially if you're coming in as a player that has really watched the European scene develop. You know, it's Zamazenta, Shadow Rider, Calyrex, Miracle.
Yeah.
You know you're going to be playing against that. So I feel like this is a really great expression of skill here from James. I especially like the adjustment where you have the Regieleki actually go for more damage rather than the Electro Webs. Then you call that
Magmiter should be specs with no drawback. That would be cool. Their evolution item actually gives them specific stuff.
I think for Victor, you could play turn
Oh
one
god,
differently. I think
Beedrill.
the leads were not that bad for him, but turn one just didn't. He was, I think, hoping to just like catch Calyrex off guard. So you know what, I'm just gonna get a knockoff into you. But yeah, I think like you could consider, either player could consider fake outing the other Calyrex, but it's a return to Smeargle, which I think also makes a lot of sense.
I'm not defending against this attack. I'm so close to getting my special.
These are the same leads we saw
Drill,
in game number
of
1.
course.
Victor was able to
You
find
mother.
the edge to carve out that first game victory. But now as we enter into the third game, it all comes down to this top 8 on the line.
Of course, he has the one special move that can kill everybody.
We'll see what happens on this first turn. We've seen the run back of these Dark Terrasalizations on the Shadow Rider Calyrex in both of these games so far.
The hard switch immediately, so part of the beauty of the double, triple fake outs is like sometimes you bait a protect, if you protect and then you switch in your fake out user immediately in the back, then you could just fake out what just protected the previous turn. But turn one already very, very spicy.
Yeah, you got this Incineroar, and as we were talking about in that second game, the Intimidate still plays a huge role again versus this Rillaboom. Didn't see it go for the Woodhammer, but there was an opportunity to do that on the last game. So imagine if you do that this time around.
Oh,
it is just the Grassy Glide, though.
Is it Psychic into that slot as well?
Wow.
Oh, what a turn by Victor!
Oh my gosh,
Oh, that's
the
a
Incineroar coming in
huge
was so big, yeah.
Oh my goodness, he gets away with so much in this turn. You don't even get the boost if you're James. Now your Calyrex is boosted. You have Fake Out plus Astral Barrage available to you. Oh, it's a phenomenal turn by Victor, and it's so scary to fall behind like this in one turn because now Calyrex just has so much offense.
And the fact that you have, the +2, you also have put James into a position where he didn't actually terrestrialize on that last turn.
Yeah.
You do save the Terra for something else if you choose to, but right now James knows he's under threat. He has to get that Shadow Rider Calyrex out of there, even though he's faster. He doesn't have a great way to actually deal damage to either of these Pokemon. So Victor knows.
Wow. Okay, so I'm never playing PvP now that I got the stupid rewards.
Regieleki breaks the set.
That was stupid.
Looking so difficult to come back, and that fake out damage, I think, having a little bit.
Oh, it wants me to do it 10 times. Okay, time to get my butt kicked.
At least survives the attack. Now you can get a free switch into, say, that Koraidon and then pressure with Electro Web plus Collision Course, for example. I think if you're
I have not gotten one win.
Out, you can just protect, go for a parting shot with Incineroar, bring out your Smeargle, and then if Smeargle has Follow Me, with it still at full HP, you can read it. Like, you don't care about eating up an Electro Web because then you just get the Astral Barrage off. So it's going to take a huge, incredible comeback for James to make it out of this one, because I feel like Victor, that turn 1 alone was game-winning.
And Victor still has the opportunity to go for Protect here. If you are expecting that Koraidon is going to try to get the knockout onto the Shadow Rider Calyrex, there's a great way for you to try to weave in something different. We see the Raging Bolt is available in the back. That's something that Victor used in that first game for that Raging Bolt to capitalize on the Sun, get its photosynthesis boost, and preserve that booster energy for later.
And I think this makes so much sense, where it's like, okay, I've got you trapped, right? If you don't knock out my Raging Bolt right now, next turn, Thunderclap, Astral Barrage, GG, shake my hand, right? And so we'll see if the Raging Bolt can survive the turn, but I think this makes a lot of sense. No need to even risk knocking your Incineroar getting KO'd. The only scary thing here is if Koraidon ends up actually targeting the Bolt and the Bolt
Triples the Electrizer.
And look at that resistance.
Triples the damage of the first electric move used after switching. Ooh, interesting.
Absolutely, you don't have to worry about the Electro Web anymore, helping you get the speed control. The Koraidon can do it all on its own.
That's absolutely huge, because yeah, with that speed boost, hold on, James found the one play that I think can bring him back into this one. Now there is still the Dragon Pulse pressure, but Koraidon now, of course, is faster than the Calyrex Shadow Rider. It can just go for a Terra as well. Wow, okay, that is nuts. Like, I'm telling you, that's the one play James could have made to keep himself in this one.
We've seen him in games 1 and 2 go for the Dark Terastallization on the Shadow Rider Calyrex, but he has preserved it for a perfect moment. Decides to
I have to do it
knowing
once.
his Electro Volt Switch damage is still going to be a lot to the Shadow Rider Calyrex. You have to bring something else in, and it has to be
Good. Wow. Landorus. My Landorus is actually putting in the work.
You just switched in on an Astral Barrage. You can see James shake his head. I'm kind of shocked he did that, quite frankly. I think maybe hoping that, like, oh, like, your Calyrex, you know.
Oh, wow, I could have actually taken both of those.
You have to switch out your Calyrex, but Victor's, you know what? I'm just going to launch my attacks there. I think James had the opportunity to maybe go for a Fire Terran attack there, but this also could be James saying, I feel like I'm so far behind in this game that I do need to make some crazy plays back-to-back turns, but it feels like that advantage that he had just built up now is slipping away once again.
The fact that Koraidon
I'm gonna die.
missed such a big opportunity to go after the Shadow Rider Calyrex. And now James is down to his final 2 Pokemon with this Game 3 as the decider for who moves on to the top 8 and the World Championships. James got top 4 and the other double restricted formats that we've seen so far in the video game. And looks like he might be going down here.
It's so close. Like,
Come on. Come on, Vanillux. Get that Avalanche! Get that Avalanche! Oh my god.
What you would ideally want is for Smeargle to hit the field, right? Because then with Smeargle, you can just go for the Follow Me and then Astral Barrage, and I think that should be game. And so, if you're James, you might actually want to be a little bit wary of that. Victor's actually just going to opt for a double.
Please just let me win one. I am so close. Come on. Come on. 3, 2, 1. Yo, no! One more hit, I could have won this. Stupid fight. Are you kidding me?
Can he get enough done with this Koraidon, and especially with the Regieleki having this extra damage, but I can't get it through this turn.
Yeah, it's going to be the Collision Course coming out and that Thunderbolt as well, giving it the extra damage that it would likely.
Oh, this sucks. I don't know what I don't know. It'll give me like some random Pokemon if I can win one, but clearly I can't win one thing. Electro, Terra, Electro, Thunder Punch, Obama Snow, guaranteed 3 KO. Resist it with the Snow defense boost.
Potentially into Regieleki. Regieleki then to get around this can of course go for a Protect. The Raging Bolt is looking really good in this endgame with that Smeargle support as well. And you still have Incineroar in the back, so Regieleki at least goes for a Protect, keeps James in it for a little bit longer, but
it's like, actually, no. Even though it said found opponent, the opponent just straight up left.
Koraidon is free and clear to go for the Collision Course. We see this move a lot so that you don't have the downside of dropping your defenses with something like close combat instead. And James is able to get rid of one threat on Victor Victor side. Still 3 more Pokemon to get through, though.
Yeah, exactly. And the thing is, since 2 of those are fake out users at full HP, so you can bring out Smeargle, fake out into the Koraidon, and just Dragon Pulse into a Regieleki, right? You don't care if Regieleki gets an attack off. Koraidon doesn't have spread moves. And then the subsequent turn, you can just go for Follow Me and Dragon Pulse. It is the last turn of Sun, so then there will be no more photosynthesis, but I think that's fine, right? And so the Terra-Leki, you know, it's cute to get the knockout, but then not protecting Koraidon was really rough.
Well, don't forget, we still have the booster energy on the
True,
Raging Bolt.
yeah,
So the Sun going away,
Doesn't
no
even matter.
problem for this Raging Bolt.
Exactly. But
Victor
yeah,
Medina, wow.
I think it's like James found an awesome turn to get himself back into it, but then just letting Shadow Rider faint. I like, once again, can totally see why he went for it. He felt like he was so far behind in this game, and he was like, I think you're scared now. You're going to switch out. Koraidon's going to go for that protect, but I think Victor is just very safe. I don't see, yeah, like, he gets the double protect off, at least with Regieleki. Okay.
That's a big turn, though, still, because that means that Regieleki does not get faked out and faints on this turn. You can now...
You could have at least let me get the special off, dude.
Some damage off as long as the Raging Bolt does not go for a Thunderclap to try to knock it out from this range. But, oh my, it's tough. You just take a look at this position for James, and how do you claw back in? Sun is gone, and there's the booster energy. You get that boost right back.
Yeah, and I just feel like now without the Sun increased damage for Koraidon, like this is just so tough, right? Because you can just go for a Follow Me once again. So, you know, James like gets the double protect. Does it even really end up mattering? I think the only thing is if you were to actually click Thunderclap here and James were to like able to go for another protect. You see, okay, yeah, I can just go for the Follow Me and then just Dragon Ball.
I should win this now. This is it. I have to win this.
Stand a chance, you like need to get a double protect.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Lando.
Raging Bolt feels like the second restricted here because it does so much damage. Koraidon's not going to attempt the double.
Finally, I win one.
Smeargle says, look at me, I am the center of attention. Let me take this collision course in your stead, Raging Bolt. I've got the focus sash. I can hang on for just one more turn while also keeping you safe from this Regieleki as well. So Raging Bolt should be free and clear. We do see the Electro Web actually be able to hit both targets, but as this Raging Bolt is still going to resist that damage, it really feels like it's just a tickle. And as the Raging Bolt now can go for this next attack, is it just going to be a one-hit knockout onto this Koraidon? It's super effective. You've got the special attack boost from the booster energy, and another Pokemon down. Victor Medina knows, but just
crazy.
He is in the top 8 of the World Championships.
2023 top 8, 2025 top 8. He has been in, I feel like, literally 10 to 15 top cuts. He has not won that major championship that he has been seeking, but this was a statement here in Game 3. That turn 1 alone lights out hard reading what James was going to do, and it just gave him such a huge lead. And this is once again why I thought Regieleki was going to be a really difficult Pokemon to execute in the matchup.
Of course, James is still giving it everything that he's got there. The protect is just to make sure you don't get fake out and Dragon Pulsed or just knocked out on this turn, but we're so closely, and here Victor can taste the next step of the World Championships, and maybe can finally get that major win he's been looking for.
Oh my goodness, here's the Thunderbolt coming out. One last attack for James, but we know how this is going to play out, and it damages the Incineroar, but that's okay because Flare Blitz will deliver the finishing blow. And Victor is moving on to top 8.
Wow, what a match between Victor and James. James being able to top...
Wait, he can do 2 charged moves? Why? It should have been Dragon Claw again.
Incredible players in the video game. And James is still an international champion. He still made it to World's top 4s 2 times already. And
That is so stupid. Oh, Dragon Claw, and then it switches to a fire move.
Was able to make it as far as he did to top 16 of Worlds again.
Yeah, absolutely. There are a couple things that I want to point out from Victor's team here, right? I think the Smeargle with the Wide-Guard, that combination alone is a huge difference maker alone, and Smeargle applied so much pressure. Victor didn't always get it right with the Smeargle, but that was okay, right? Like, the thing with Smeargle is if you get more of the coin flips right, it's going to work out in your favor, right? And so being able to thread in with that wide guard was huge. And that turn 1 in Game 3 was like, James was clearly trying to go all in, respecting the Smeargle. The switch into
Zap Cannon, yeah, okay, dude, whatever.
Just like such a huge lead that it felt basically impossible to come back from. And part of the thing is, if you look at James's team, there's no wide guard. Everything takes over 50% essentially from a +2 Life Orb Astral Barrage, right? So while Victor had the slower Calyrex, he's like, well, I don't mind being slower.
Lando is carrying me in these battles now.
And you're not going to knock me out because you're not, like, you don't have Koraidon out on the field.
But then James got that one turn
They were
Correct.
sick. Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Like
yeah.
the Corrida going for the flame charge instead,
Getting the
not having
speed
to
boost,
rely on
that's
their
right.
Reggie but then missing the opportunity to just go
Come
for
on.
Terra.
Come on.
That's
I win. I win. I win.
that
I win.
it was
Thank you.
it would have gone
That is
down.
so stupid.
I can't help but think about how different
Oh
it
my
is.
god. A second win. Thanks to Lando.
Had James been able to get that knockout.
Yeah,
Did you
I
know
think
Lando
James
T is
left
based on a
position.
true
And
story?
once again,
Mainland
like,
or
it's
was
very
for to
easy watch and
set
be like,
stealth rocks
just
and
have it
U-turn
fine
for the
for what we do
amusement
that
of
day.
the audience.
From James's end, it makes a lot of sense.
Oh
because James is
my
like, well, I
god.
just boosted my speed. There's no
Lectures
way you're gonna let me
are
just knock out your Calyrex, right?
Guaranteed
Victor
2k
was-
after
in that
recovery.
position,
Wow.
I think he's like, look, I'm willing to just take the damage trade, even if you fire Terra your Crydon. I at least either, I mean, if you let me get the Astral Barrage up, I just win the game. But even if you let me get the Dragon Pulse off, if you don't Terra, you also lose immediately. If you Terra, I still do a lot of damage, and then you're probably in Thunderclap KO range, right? So it works out even better for Victor. I like both players were probably like, what? Like when that turn played out. But yeah, I think from James's POV, he's like, okay, I can get back into this if you end up switching your Calyrex out. I protect my Crydon to prevent it from faking the Dragon Pulse. I get my Calyrex position out, and now I can Dark Terra my Shadow Rider, and my Shadow Rider is going to be the star.
Unfortunately, I have to do 10 of these battles just to get another reward. I don't have to win, but as long as I... Oh god, Metagross. Cool, I'm glad I'm the one in the disadvantage.
Honestly, a testament to his skill.
Yeah, so amazing. It's what I expect out of a player like James, though. You know, he still has that incredible amount of experience from, again, almost a decade of play in this game, if not more than that. And he's found himself as a 4 times regional champion. That's why. It's because he can make plays like that, even while behind, is able to bring himself back into things. And I know we'll continue to see more of James in the future.
We gotta talk about Victor, though.
We absolutely do.
I think, you know, Shadow Rider Zamazenta coming into the World Championships, like everyone knew people were going to use it, right? But who is going to be able to to take it to the top? Victor's had so much experience with it, and now we're able to actually hear a little bit more from him, so let's throw it down to the floor for an interview.
Thank you so much. I'm here with Victor Mendina, who once again is locked.
Dude,
in the top
hurry up,
here
hurry
at
up.
Pokemon
Give
World
me the
Championships.
attack.
Congratulations, Victor.
I have to use my shield.
Thank you. It feels amazing. It feels incredible to lock top 8 for a third time.
Almost double what CC
Last
does.
2 times I lost in top 8. I couldn't get myself to win a Pikachu trophy, but this is the day. I hope. I'm going to give my best in the best of 3s that I'm going to play now. I'm so nervous. I think you all saw that, but I will do my very best.
I think I hear some cheers. Yeah, let's hear it for Victor. Let's give him some confidence. You mentioned yesterday in our interview that you were nervous, and obviously coming into today, you were presumably nervous. Have you been able to find a way
Okay,
to
no
calm
way
your
this
nerves
charge
going
attack
into
kills.
matches?
Not at all, not at all. You
I
have
better
to play
say.
with these nerves. Going into today, I felt prepared, but of course nervous as always. In round 1, I was a bit lucky. I had to play the win and in the second round today, and gladly I won.
Dude, of course he's got a Vaporeon in the back.
I can't help but feel happy. I feel amazing right now.
One more battle and I don't have to do these again. God, this is so stupid. I hate this.
You know, it felt very back and forth, and then in
Stop-
turn number 3,
stop
there was a
leading with
very
him.
decisive turn number 1. What was your thought process going into that game and then locking in as the nasty bot in particular?
I saw James, first of all, I really wanted to play against James. James is a player that I admire a lot. He has amazing results, amazing finish, and also is a Tornado's homie. So I wanted to play him so bad. And in game 3, what I saw is that he locked really fast in turn 1. So I thought maybe he's not respecting the swap that I can do to Instinct in the turn 1. And I think with that turn, I pretty much locked the game. I feel like from then on, it was pretty straightforward.
And do you feel like you have to be like extra aware of just like your opponents, you know, how quickly they lock, their body language? Is that something that you've had to practice over time, or does it feel like instinctual?
It feels a little bit instinctual.
Let's try this.
But I'm sure it took some practice, so I'm getting used to. I'm not sure. I try to not do that a lot, but you know, sometimes you have to predict turns like that. So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well.
Oh, cool. My attack's gonna do
Congratulations again on
times
winning
4.
that. I do want to check in. You know, what has been the most valuable Pokemon for you this week?
Oh God, this guy brought like level 2 Pokemon. That's crazy.
Has been incredible so far, but Calyrex is just as good, to be honest. So those two are really important.
All right, well, Victor, I asked you this yesterday. I'm going to ask you again. Do you have any shout-outs you want to give to anybody in the audience or anybody at home?
Oh, the guy left. That was a freebie. Let's go.
Shout out to Miguel for the help regarding the matchup, regarding everything.
Thank
to be
you.
honest, shout out to my family.
Oh, I got a Mienfoo. That's crazy.
Shout out to all my friends in Granada, to all my friends in Madrid, and to all my friends in Europe. Even like all the community has been amazing. Shout outs to everyone because the support has been.
I'm almost done with this Pokemon Go stuff. Hold on.
But I'm not stopping here. I'm getting that Pikachu trophy and I'm getting that.
Yeah, no, I am not getting 5 wins.
Best of luck, Victor. You have
Spoink, I am so tired of looking at you. I've caught so many of them.
As far as you're dreaming to take it. And that's going to be it for us for now. We're going to take a short break before we're back with another match for here from Top Cut at the Pokemon World Championship, so please stay tuned.
Pikachu, Libre Mask, Libre, top, boots. Okay.
Hey Pokemon trainers, welcome to Pokemon Championships History, a series where we showcase
Jeez, that was awful.
the history of competitive.
Made me feel like a loser.
It's time to flash back to the 2014 World Championships to relive arguably the most iconic moment in competitive Pokemon history, Seijune's Pachirisu. It may be true that the Electric Squirrel stole the show at Worlds, but first let's focus on this story's true protagonist, Seijun Park. From South Korea, Seijun was known as an innovative team builder who performed consistently at the world's largest stage. 2014 was Seijun's 4th consecutive top cut of the World Championships.
Certainly one of the game's legendary players. I think that most people in the community around the video game would probably agree that Seijun is the best player who's never won a World Championship.
But if Seijun wanted to take home the title this time, he would need to utilize his creativity. Many people think Seijun's team was built around Pachirisu, but it was actually a team revolving around another uncommon Pokemon, Mega Gyarados. 2014 was a new era for VGC with Pokemon X and Y, and the first 3D installer.
Okay, now let's actually focus on trying to shiny hunt. Also, I wanted to go play Pokemon Go, but now I don't want to because it's raining.
2014 metagame with its ability Parental Bond, and Mega Mawile was also picking up momentum before Worlds. Because of the prevalence of physical attackers in VGC, Seijun viewed Gyarados and its Intimidate ability as a great counter that other trainers wouldn't expect. Then once Gyarados Mega evolved, it became surprisingly bulky, and after a Dragon Dance or two, it would become unstoppable. Seijun's team of 6 Pokemon for Worlds is a quintessential example of how to properly team build in VGC. Whether it was Talonflame to hit first and hit hard thanks to its Gale Wings ability, or Gothitelle to endure almost any hit, or Garchomp and Gardevoir to provide valuable chip damage, each Pokemon had a clearly defined role on the team and a way to aid Mega Gyarados on its path to the peak. With those 5 Pokemon on the roster, how did Seijun decide on the final slot for his Worlds team? To answer that, we have to look back at Seijun's previous team at Worlds. At the 2013 World Championships, Seijun lost in top 8, but there were 2 major influences on his team, Marowak and Magmar. By no means were these 2 Pokemon staples in VGC, but they provided Seijun's team a specific type of support needed for success. Marowak had the Lightning Rod ability, which redirected electric attacks away from his Jellicent and Tornadus. And Magmar used the move Follow Me, which was another way to redirect attacks from key targets. How could Seijun combine both electric immunity and Follow Me with only 1 slot left on his team? The answer was Pachirisu. Many trainers were aware of the support Pachirisu could provide to a team, but Seijun was the trainer who fully realized its potential as the ultimate teammate. As a bulky electric type, it only had one weakness, and with its ability Volt Absorb, Pachirisu was immune to electric moves, so it was the best choice to redirect electric attacks away from Mega Gyarados. Nuzzle was a new electric move that dealt a little bit of damage, but would always inflict the target with paralysis.
Sajin showing off what Pachirisu exactly can do. Nuzzle, I've never seen that move actually been used in competitive play, and now it comes out at the World Championships.
And Super Fang would deal half of the target's remaining HP, which helped the rest of Sejun's team secure knockouts.
Pachirisu just won't go away.
Now that Sejun had locked in his 6th Pokemon for Worlds, it was time for Pachirisu Mania to take Washington, D.C. in the Pokemon World by storm. In the finals, Sejun would face off against Jody Azzarelli. The VGC newcomer was the underdog, but thanks to his double mega team with Lucario and Charizard Y, Jody had multiple roads to victory. Jody wished to be the home country hero and give the US a 4th title in VGC's top division, but the crowd was rooting for the little Pachirisu that could to be the hero of this story.
Yeah, and we do see the Pachirisu on the field, and the crowd goes crazy as soon as Pachirisu makes it out.
In Game 1, Sejun's skills as a trainer were tested.
Ice Punch into that Talonflame. That's some good damage onto Talonflame, and the freeze! The Ice Punch gets the freeze onto Talonflame. It's stuck in mid-air.
An Ice Punch freeze onto Talonflame could have been disastrous. Normally, freeze wouldn't be a problem because most Talonflames use Flare Blitz and could thaw immediately, but Sejun's Talonflame had Overheat, which is not a fire move that automatically thaws. In order for Sejun to get back into this game, he had one chance to thaw out and successfully hit Overheat.
The thaw as Overheat comes out from Talonflame. Sejun is not playing around. Overheat gets the KO onto the Mo Rotom. Tyranitar is still out though. The Life Orb from Talonflame as Super Fang from Pachirisu, not dealing quite that much, but the paralysis. Tyranitar fully paralyzed.
With luck back on Sejun's side, once he was able to KO Jody's Mega Charizard, Garchomp and Talonflame had enough left to give Sejun the victory in Game 1.
With that extra damage there, you're going to feel very safe that even intimidated, Talonflame can finish off this. But we see the forfeit.
Yeah, Jody going ahead and forfeiting, and Sejun Park takes Game 1 of this best-of-3 set.
Jody needed to change up his strategy in Game 2, and Mega Lucario packed quite the punch. This, however, was exactly the situation Sejun's Gardevoir was trained for.
Yeah, Mega Lucario making its first appearance on the stream here. Going to go ahead and Mega Evolve, get a lot of additional power on the field for Jody. And Bullet Punch coming up from Mega Lucario onto Gardevoir. Not quite enough for the one-hit KO. Dazzling Gleam, the choice from Gardevoir. Super effective damage on Salamence, and the Earthquake. Is it going to be enough? Is Mega going down? The Mega goes down. Turn 1 for Jody.
Once Gardevoir was knocked out, it was time for Pachirisu to show the world what it could do. On a field with some of the most powerful Pokemon in VGC, Pachirisu would shine brighter than them all.
The story unfolds in the minds are all drawn. The moment is now to claim your glory.
Salamence dropping a Draco and Pachirisu shrugging it off will go down as one of the most iconic moments in VGC history. With just one Pokemon remaining, it was time for the Prince.
I still, like, that is so hard to believe. How is it that, like, I mean, I guess if it's just fully invested in bulk, I guess if you do that, then you can survive a Draco, but like on Pachirisu, it's crazy. Oh no.
Sejun Park and Pachirisu are forever tied together in the story of competitive Pokemon and have inspired countless trainers across the world to play VGC. It takes a well-rounded team of 6 Pokemon to become world champion, and Sejun proved that success is a team effort. Sejun's lasting impact is not that Pachirisu was the greatest Pokemon ever, but instead it was a great Pokemon for the role he was looking to fill. Thank you for watching, and let us know some of your favorite moments in VGC history by using the hashtag #PlayPokemon.
Hello everyone and welcome back to the 2025 Pokemon World Championships here in Anaheim. Top Cut is here. The top trainers are giving it their best and so excited to be bringing yet another match to you. I'm Sierra Dawn, joined here by Lee Provost, and what a day so far.
It's been incredible so far, hasn't it? And living up to all the expectations we had after an amazing day one. So cannot wait to get into the top 16. We've obviously had that last match where Victor has progressed on. Now we've got 2 more trainers that are looking to get into that top 8, which is such a prestigious place to be at the World Championships.
Yeah, it's always about those steps, right? The first step making it into the day 2, then top cut, and now 2 trainers at top 16 looking to make their way into that top 8, and 2 very deserving trainers. Next up, we have Ko Tsukide going up against Nick Navarre. Nick, who we saw earlier, Ko 8-0 on day 1, the only undefeated player out in the field, and you know that we have a anger of a match ahead. But of course, looking at the other matches, we're still filling out some of our we're still filling out some things, but tying up even, because we'll get back to the match we have. But looking at that top 8, just ooh.
Yeah, I mean, Montana versus Michael is just an incredible match in itself. And Montana been on an absolute tear this weekend. It's great to see as well, because such a strong trainer and making it into
I gotta
top
get some
cut.
water.
Got a really formidable opponent up next in Michael, but you know, the way they're playing, everything has to be on Michael to perform to get that into that semi-final stage. So really great match. Victor already, like I mentioned, progressing on to now, who has been one of those trainers we've just kept an eye on and just performed so incredibly well this weekend, already in top 8. But the rest of our trainers who aren't quite there yet got it all to do to move on to this next stage of the tournament. And you know, it's not gonna be easy. We've been talking about this and how good the talent pool is here this weekend. Everything to play for at this stage and within touching distance of that trophy.
This is where the
Oop, not me burping into the microphone as usual.
Look at these top 8, even just the top 16s that have yet to play out. Realistically, I can imagine any of their names being called as the champion in the arena tomorrow.
Yeah,
So
literally could be, couldn't they? Yeah, it's actually, when you look at this, it's just incredible to see the talent. Yeah, you know, you could pick. Like
Man, honestly, if I could make Pokemon my full-time job, that would be like, that would be a dream. That's a dream right there.
Yeah, it's just so exciting to be here and be able to kind of watch these stories play out and watch these legacies be written in history, you know.
especially with how different every story is. I mean, we have former world champions in any division that have tried to buy their way to
Thunder Punch versus Max Defense Dondozo. Guaranteed 2 KO after lefties. That's the dream. All we can ask for is like mega Electivire and mega
one of those things where I think as a player you probably don't realize
Magmortar, or even better, more items that are meant for specific Pokemon that make them better, you know?
I mean, getting to the World Championships itself is a huge accomplishment, but to get this deep into the tournament is incredible.
Imagine, I feel like, because it's like, oh yeah, you could give them Electrizer, which does that, like, oh, double their first attack of when they switch in, you know? But knowing Game Freak, they would probably be like, oh, Electrizer, all of Electivire, like, electric attacks, their added effect is doubled. So, like, Discharge, it now has a 60% chance of, paralyzing. Thunderbolt is now a 20% chance to paralyze, whereas Magmortar's Lava Plume is now 60% chance to burn, and then 20% chance to burn with Flamethrower.
How much that experience from doing it in another division will aid you coming into.
I don't know. Because it's like Serene Grace, but only for those specific Pokemon. Because I feel like that's what I feel like that Game Freak would do, if you're gonna do specific stuff just for them.
So I know that we are about to have a great match ahead. And looking at the teams as well, I mean, this gets really interesting because very different teams, especially too when I am looking at Nick's team, because Kyogre, we have seen a little bit of that from the weekend.
Specs with no drawback. I would like that too.
No, but I think something that
Like give it more like offensive pressure.
Comfortable with it. It's got the potential to kind of cut through the opponent quite well, and as Nick's been able to show so far, has been doing the job for them. And I think the changes that Nick's made, he talked about.
Oh my god! Imagine Magmarizer is a specs for Magmortar, but then Electrizer for Electivire makes it so that electric attacks do not miss. So Zap Cannon never misses. Imagine that. That would be the dream. It's like Nuzzle but better. Because I mean you're not running a Scarf on Electivire to make it faster. You know, you have to like do everything you can to keep Electivire alive so it can utilize its Zap Cannon. I don't even know if it gets Zap. It probably does not get Zap Cannon. I'm just imagining it.
Has got the choice band, not the choice scarf like Nick's got, so going to be able to hit that little bit harder as well. But then you've got the Miraidon instantly putting pressure on that Kyogre, which is really great, and it almost forces it.
That would be better. Just triple the first electric move used in after switching in. I think I'd be fine with that. One is a specs and one is like immediately like, you know, immediately use its like super battery item. That then the item recharges when you switch and then switch back in. Yeah. Because I mean that's their like main thing. Like after evolving, like they became slower and then more like slightly bulkier to offensive. So it's like they should be wall breakers. Let them do something that can wall break for that, like that the moments, you know, that they come in, you know. I wouldn't exactly call them a wall breaker. They're just more offensive.
You've also got the Rillaboom as well, which has that priority grassy glide that you can utilize. So almost if the Ursaluna can't grassy glide, it's going to be prone to those grassy glides, doing big damage. So there are ways that Nick can really navigate this match. Of course, they've got their own Ice Rider Calyrex. It will be one of those more defensively built versions as well with the Leech Seed. So that's
I would like that speed boost on Electivire. Because it's motor drive, like it's like, yeah, okay, nice motor drive that like you don't get that many chances to actually activate. Icy Wind.
Yeah, definitely scary because of the pressure that it's putting on.
I say Icy Wind and go for the Origin Pulse and then get your Kyogre to die immediately. Actually, no, you can't Icy Wind because it's a grass type. The giant bat creature, right? Yeah, Moltres, what are you doing? Why do you have to be so mean?
But Nick, right away, this is a very fast and offensive pace to be starting off the match. It's going to be the Fluttermane into that very Terrassalization.
Ugh, why do I try to mimic its sound?
The absolute most, but it's going to be a Terrassalization apiece when Fluttermane can be threatening, but going into this electric type is.
That's another thing. Not only did a lot of Pokemon had Toxic before, but now a lot of Pokemon have T-Wave, and it's like, yeah, okay, great. Squark. Oh, Kyogre. Kyogre survived. I'm about to say, that does nothing. Why did you not go for Origin Pulse? Why would you not go for Origin Pulse? Why would you not go for Origin Pulse?
Yeah, there's a lot to unpack there, right? From the last turn, we see the Fluttermane be the choice on Nick's side. Terastallize, trying to snipe off that Miraidon, but really smart Terastallization from Cole to say, okay, well, that is a threat. I know the item on your Fluttermane is probably max speed, so we're gonna have a little bit of a tussle here. Getting out of that weakness,
Under new management.
Just to cover in case we do see that grass Terastallization. And it's in a spot now where
I'm gonna have to make that smaller again.
so maybe wants to
Because I gotta like...
wants to utilize that Lunala that is in that comfortable
Okay, I just need to move closer to my screen now.
If you can remove that Kyogre or just kind of try and mitigate the damage from that Pokemon here, it will allow you, but Nick in a nice spot as well.
It's going to be a swap. That Kyogre's taking so much damage, not necessarily vibing with the board situation. It's
Actually, hold on, let me try something. If I do this... Oh, wait. Hold on. I'm gonna switch the screens. Now, how do I do this?
Whimsicott now to hit the field for Ko's end. Shadow Ball from Fluttermane into this Whimsicott, so it's not going to be a welcome greeting.
Oh, that's weird. No, wait, no. That is what I want. Okay.
Not necessarily looking for the most damage here.
So now it's actually like... I'm actually looking at the screen.
Make sure that Ko has some good positioning here. It could bring the Lunala in, or we can get a sneak peek of that fourth Pokemon.
It'll be interesting to see what that last Pokemon is, but now a really nice switch to that Whimsicott for Cole, because they've got access to that instant tailwind that's going to allow whatever comes in next to it to get the speed jump on that Fluttermane and potentially be able to remove it from the field, because it is right now a huge threat. Of course, you can't ignore that Ice Rider. Calyrex has just entered the field, still in a really healthy position, and is going to start threatening with those maybe Glacial Lances, or start spreading the Leech Seed depending on what Cole decides to bring in.
I'm curious how much of that damage it did take on that swap in, though, is going to make a difference, because Calyrex Ice Rider, I think
it's a prankster mon.
normally survive one hit, but when you are eyeing up a Miraidon that can deal so much damage, that can be a scary spot, and Lunala is definitely not one that it can deal some damage out here, and that will be the one to re-hit the field. So where do we go from here?
Well, this is it, because I think now with the Whimsicott, you've got the option to go for that tailwind, and then...
Oh, it was Jimothy Cool. Yeah, Jimothy Cool put out a video talking about, like, his opinion on some of the, like, status effects. And yeah, I just, like, I'd be fine if paralysis only lowered your speed. I just don't like the fact that there's a chance that you do nothing. Sleep, it's like, I'm not a big fan of sleep. Well, I like sleep when it's in my favor. I don't like sleep when it's in someone else's favor.
Just give him a little bit of room while you utilize maybe that Calyrex to get the damage you need, because that Whimsicott is threatened from a Glacial Lance, and it's unlikely that we see the Lunala go for the Wide Guard in this situation when there's
Real
boom option in front of them.
Well, we're about to find out, but yeah, we talked about the Fluttermane.
Oh yeah, and then they should rework Freeze to be Frostbite from Legends Arceus, so that it's like Burn, but uh-oh, their mic's cut out. Yeah, it's like it lowers the special attack instead of the physical attack, like how Burn does, while also taking like residual damage.
Okay.
So I think you should go away after some time unless it has an ability that benefits from it, right? That's why I like Shed Skin Scrafty. Cause it's like, cause like I can immediately start setting up in front of a Gliscor or like that.
It's gonna be a bit of a mind game with whose fake out Pokemon is faster,
because I do have a chance of just getting, I can get rid of Toxic, and then like the Toxic timer just like it goes away. It resets.
And then go for that Moongeist Beam into the Calyrex
knockoff poison jab.
Yeah, and this Incineroar, I mean, this just makes so
Yeah.
much sense with Pokemon. These Pokemon now,
Scrafty
Nick
is so cool.
on this turn. And Go, I mean, you've managed to take a lot of headway. We've gotten to see the tailwind, so of course Go is going to have the speed advantage moving on forward. Incineroar offered so much
Oh,
pressure on
man.
the turn, and we saw how much that damage.
So, I mean, supposedly there's supposed to be a Mega Scrafty in Legends Arceus. I mean, that's because of the leaks. But, like, I really hope so. Because then it's... Imagine if it's Mega Scrafty, but it keeps its, like... I mean, if it keeps its Shed Skin ability, or if it is Shed Skin, I'm fine with that, because at least it's stronger, and I'm sure they're going to make it bulkier. But like, what else could it be? What if it's like, what if it's Shed Skin plus the effect of like, you know, it should Shed Shell, so you can switch at any moment you can. I don't know. I mean, that wouldn't be as useful as, at least you can't get Perish trapped or like Magma Storm. Magma Storm's not gonna trap you. Even then, you threaten Heat Ran, because it's like, what, like you if you're Dragon Danced already, you can just drain punch it, and even if you get burned, you can just like shed skin your, you know, with your special ability. Or you can also immediately switch out and bring in something that does immediately like threaten Heat Ran. I don't know.
So it's not really going to be in the position to
Exactly though.
At least for Nick, when you are trying to play the waiting out game, when you have this Kyogre that's built
150 defense. Oh my god, 150 defenses, 120 attack, and then that 71 speed to like. There are some Pokemon that have 70 speed, so at least with that 1 point, you are gonna outspeed. If you're going for max speed, max attack, because if you Mega Evolve, you're gonna be so bulky. You just want to put your stuff into offenses. Put your EVs into offenses.
Fluttermane instantly to hit the field and go, but Nick slowly but surely getting through the turn. But again, will he have
I mean, and even then, like if you like, you could have an like, you know, another set for Scrafty is like Super Fang knockoff. What else? Super Fang just because it's like, you know, there's so many things that rely on like, you know, I don't know. Put everything in speed and HP. Yeah, at that, you know what? Yeah, at that point, put everything in speed and HP because you want as much bulk as you want, as you need. I don't know. I just really like the fact that it's like, oh, let me immediately put your health at 50, and then we'll go from there. Because more than likely, they're not going to be able to get their health back. And obviously, Stab knockoff threatens ghosts. And, you know, just a stronger knockoff is just very useful. Dragon Dance? I mean, yeah, we can also go for Dragon Dance. Add that too. Start speeding up, do stronger knockoff. And then Drain Punch. There you go, there's your set. Something along the lines of that, but of course, I don't know.
No, it's not. And if you get the slot wrong in that situation as well, that's where the Moon Guy's beam lands.
I mean, hey, I feel like I'd be fine with that. Because it's negative priority. Imagine a move that is guaranteed one-shot, but only if the opponent has half HP or less, and it's negative priority. I like how I told the second part of the message, and then went back to tell the first part. Wow, they both survived. That's crazy.
Both Incineroar's exit, even if that Tailwind has expired, this Miraidon is still super speedy.
Yeah, really speedy, and I think even if Cole takes an attack from the Rillaboom here and it goes down, which is not going to be the case, he wouldn't mind because I think it just opens it up for the Incineroar to come back into the field. You got that active fake out, even though
Electivire should get Ice Beam. I mean, Manectric for some reason has like you know, T-Bolt / Thunder plus Overheat. Overheat's crazy for something like him.
I feel like I'm in a really tough spot right now.
So if Electivire gets Electric Fire, you know, Manectric, then Electivire should get Electric Ice.
38, that is just quivering when you're staring down the Miraidon on the other end. It is a scary situation. Co just has
It look, yeah, Electivire just straight up looks like a Yeti, man. A Yeti, man. Yetterman. Hold on. Let me get some snacks for my, like, school backpack.
Yeah, and I think you're kind of just delaying the
Actually, I'm gonna snack on my
utilizing this time to rethink and reevaluate what's maybe not gone your way this game and how you can go into game 2 to kind of pull things back around. That's a fine thing to do. Just attack into the Kyogre with the Miraidon.
Imagine going for Hydro Pump this turn. I was gonna say, imagine going for Hydro Pump, because it's just gonna try to attack, I don't know. Oh, I didn't realize the Miraidon died from Life Orb. That's crazy.
It is going to be down to 2 APs, but Trick Room with this change up of dimension is going to be Incineroar and Lunala for Co. Nick with 2 very low health Pokemon, but Nick does have some facial pressure on this turn, and of course when you are looking at a little bit of priority, you can't have that with the Urshifu.
Yeah,
with the Rillaboom.
Yeah, definitely. I think the one thing that you've got to call out from that last turn is just the smart play from Lunala from Code to say, okay, well, yeah, I think you're going to protect the Kyogre. I'm going to go after that Ice Rider. I'm going to utilize this turn. I'm going to get some value out of it and go for that Trick Room, putting yourself in just such a commanding position where, you know, the Incineroar is going to come in. You would expect that to be the slower out of the two and itself and the Rillaboom. So going to have that faster fake out here, and that's why we're seeing the cancellation locked in. Cole taking game 1.
Yeah, that Trick Room was just so well done, because if it was a situation where, yeah, we went for the attack into the Kyogre had protected, and we got that fake out, it could have been, you know, actually a possibility here for Nick. But Co just making sure this is a safe play. This is the guy that went 8-0 on game 1. You know, we're gonna see
Electivire Life Orb ability.
and it was just so strong. And that was a really just
oh, ability speed boost, not a Life Orb ability. Oh my gosh. Terra Ice with Thunder Punch, Ice Punch, CC, and knockoff. Like that's like to me that's like a good like wide move pull. Yeah, we'll say that because it's like yeah.
Chilling there boost, but I've got Incineroar on the back. You don't have the Kiramina. I can just drop that, keep you in check, and keep that pressure on with the Lunala. This was something you didn't have without that speed control, and like you rightly said, at the close of that match, the Trick Room at the end was key because you get the Rillaboom in next to it, you can fake out the Incineroar and get a free Origin Pulse off with the rain. It kind of almost forces the hand of the Lunala in that situation to either go wide guard and not attack, or attacking and maybe possibly lose the Incineroar, and then things can start to turn. So just locking it up perfectly executed by Cole.
Even with the Hydro Pump, you could stop one slot and anticipate. So it is close, but again, just Co making sure that there was no door open, absolutely no possibility, and playing so smart to the end. But now, where do we go into this game too? Because again, that was pressure that Co had from the get-go. Where can Nick switch this up?
I think you've got to get a bit
I am so tired of all this stupid Arceus shiny hunting. This is the BDSP. I'm so glad that you can get shiny Darkrai, shiny Heatran, shiny Arceus, especially shiny Arceus and shiny Shaman. I do not appreciate the fact that this is the one game that shiny Charm does not have increased shiny odds for wild Pokemon. How dare you?
To the Miraidon, and you expect maybe it will have to go for that terrestrialization here because the threat from the Flood Domain, if we see it play out like game 1 where we do see that terastallization and the Moonblast come into there, we know that the Miraidon, whether it's electric terastallization to be able to take that, if it doesn't terastallize, stays on the field, probably will drop to that Moonblast, and Cole not really wanting to give up pieces so easily. So I think that is a nice play to get rid of the electric train, to stop that big damage coming out, and the Rillaboom in a position where it can potentially get some value here. It can get some chip damage into the Miraidon, maybe pivot out, keep that grassy train active in the back, or you can break the Shadow Shield, or get some big damage onto the Lunala if the Shadow Shield is broken by the Fluttermane.
Right away on this first turn, a lot of different options here for Nick, and on the opposing end, Co switching up the terastallization into this Lunala instead. The Fluttermane is still threatening to both of these Pokemon, so you really have to pick and choose, and prioritizing making sure Lunala is not going to be taking super effective damage, and that is going to be one that pays off. Out of all, Shadow Shield, and not too much. Special defense will drop. You didn't take too much damage. Electro Drift, the Volt Switch, sorry, from this Miraidon. That's going to be a considerable
Oh my god, dude.
Yeah, this is just so well played by Cole, saying, okay, I'm not repeating what I did game 1, because you probably want to go after the Lunala, expecting the Miraidon, because we talked about how pressured it was. That is the obvious choice for the terastallization, identifying that, saying, no, I'm going to protect my Lunala this time, because it was so pivotal in that game 1. I'm going to terastallize that in case you go for that Moonblast, the Shadow Ball into this slot. Don't want it to be super effective, don't want to put myself in danger of getting knocked out by it. Double up into it from a Wood Hammer that potentially
Arena
is coming
trap
from the Rillaboom. It's in a
Rhyperior
nice
with a
position,
choice
especially with that
band.
Volt Switch damage into the Fluttermane there, to put it in a place where
Has some
if we do
physical
see a
bulk
follow
with
up
max
from
of
the
physical
Lunala,
attack,
Fluttermane is
adamant,
gone, and Nick loses a really key
ice
piece of the puzzle,
body,
which
oh,
would be huge
earthquake body press, ice punch
pull
and
this
stone
game back
edge.
and tie it up.
And I mean,
I'm fine with that.
Call to, I mean, leave them right on in position where that could have been eliminated on the very first turn.
So brave.
So brave. That's going to be now Incineroar after a little bit of thought to hit the field, but Rillaboom not eyeing up a big attack. Instead, this is going to be the pivot as well. And in the back, it's going to be that double restricted for Nick. Now Kyogre onto the field, but I'm still intrigued with Lunala and what it's gone for on this turn. We've seen the terastallization, so we know it can survive through the turn, and now this is where
That's one thing I am like surprised about, that somehow choice band increases body press, and also too, choice band on a if you yourself, the user, is using foul play, that also boosts the power of foul play. Like the opponent doesn't have to have a choice band to boost it. And so it's like, if I have a choice band and they have a choice band, that's a really strong foul play. Electrode uses foul play.
Go for the fake out into that slot, and then it frees up the Kyogre to get those big attacks off. So gotta be careful here if you all.
AKA one of my favorite sets.
Position to try and get a momentum swing, get him back.
Also, I still have not gotten that shiny Hisuian Voltorb or Electrode, but eventually I'll get there.
The difference in the move going for either is
I just need the shiny Arceus first.
isn't going to get wide guard. There's a lot of possibility here, and Rillaboom, I mean, calling out Fako, but I'm curious if we are just going to see that Swapperoo.
Absolutely. They need to do a thing where it's like self-destruct / explosion. Now does the half the opponent's defense and then attack with explosion. Like, come on, dude, give us that back. I want that again.
Is going to be the Whimsicott and that Miraidon, when the Dragon typing going to help there, and obviously the Whimsicott with its Grass typing. So nice position, and getting that Whimsicott onto the field now is really nice, because once again you can go for that Tailwind that's going to put the Lunala in that more preferable position, and the Miraidon and its electric terrain going to be really strong this next turn if it can get through it.
Kyogre has worked so hard to get a Water Spout with that full HP, and the double swap from Ko. That is a lot of damage, but it is going to be 2 Pokemon that survive.
Yeah, it is, and that is massive, because now both these Pokemon, I mean, otherwise they would still be in range from a Glacial
Can't
Lance.
Calyrex just kill with Glacial Lance now?
Guarantees it, right? The thing is, the
Metagross with Psychic Surge. It's funny because it's like, the Psychic Surge, you're increasing both Psychic Fangs and expanding Force. But the drawback is that now it's sort of awkward, because now you can't really use
gets a target
Bullet
right,
Punch.
maybe pick up a knockout on.
But hey, at least you have Meteor Mash if you're going for that.
With only 2 Pokemon in the back and Incineroar.
But it's fine because you're boosting the psychic
Kyogre
moves.
maybe feeling a little bit of a threat from that Miraidon on the opposing end. We'll see a switcheroo once again as Rillaboom, again, better poised to take a hit and reset that train, bringing the
Oh man, Psychic Surge Shift Gear. Dude.
both of our trainers though. Whimsicott is not looking to set any sort of tailwind, instead switch back out. Incineroar will bring the Intimidate, and that's going to be great when you're eyeing up these 2 physical attacking Pokemon on the opposing end. Now we're eyeing up the Miraidon, and the pivoting isn't going to stop there. It's going to do a little bit of damage, and yet again, Code to pivot things around.
Yeah, he does not want to give up any Pokemon if he doesn't have to, and I think.
I mean, like, Metagross is literally like a supercomputer. Like, it even says it's a supercomputer Pokemon. Meaning it should get some way of like getting like Shift Gear should work.
The next turn, and he's got the ability to continually go for that pivot out. Maybe
you know,
the Miraidon back onto the field, or the Whimsicott to help support, disrupt things on your side.
Looking at the pivoting too from Ko's end, I mean, for the Water Spout one, you took a lot of damage, but you had Pokemon that survived the turn after the switch. And again, with this double pivot to be able to bring these Pokemon in, the Glacial Launches did really not that much damage.
No, and I think that's the problem with one Intimidate. It feels very underwhelming, doesn't it? And it doesn't feel like you're making the progress that you want, unlike something like Kyogre out in the field that you feel like, wow, this is making steps forward in the game, where the Calyrex feels way, way less impactful. And do you want to slow the game down even further by going for those Leech Seeds and kind of have to rely on that as the way to chip down your opponent? I don't think you've got time to do that against this powerhouse in Lunala. We saw how heavy it hit in that game 1. If you give it an inch, it's going to take a mile, and that is something that Nick can't allow to happen.
Every single time we are getting down to just seconds on the clock left for Nick as he is putting in these moves. Down 1 in the set, has to make sure this is played perfectly to try and take this into a game 3. Thanks to the Terastallization on the Lunala, that is susceptible to getting flinched, and it is not going to be able to move on this turn. Knock off so much damage into the Rillaboom. Assault Vest gone means as well, any of those special attacks can actually do quite a bit more.
Yeah, and now the Kyogre switch, a really nice one here from Nick, because the Kyogre...
You think there should be a recovery move for steel types like Metagross and Magnezone called Self-Repair? It'd be scary because if we did get something like that, Game Freak is probably... I mean, they already nerfed Darkrai, like a mythical. They already nerfed one of its like signature moves to being 50% chance to sleep the opponent. And I don't like, I'd be afraid that somehow Game Freak would mess up and give Magearna self-repair. And it's like, it doesn't need that. It doesn't need self-repair. It's already bulky enough. Don't, like, it makes sense to give Magearna self-repair, but, you know.
One of those more accurate moves. But instead, it's going to be Whimsicott coming in to soak up the hit. Rillaboom will be the first one.
That's crazy. It just survives. It just survives. It makes sense. It's a defensive mon. It's going to keep,
not necessarily where you would have wanted to take the damage. At least you don't have to worry about the tailwind, but it's not going to be that big hitting move.
Absolutely. Magearna goes straight to anything goes.
Yeah, that's a huge amount of damage from the Incineroar.
Because literally all it needs is Shift Gear, Self-Repair, Flare Cannon, and like, I mean, do you keep Flash Cannon on it? Because what if, doesn't it get Volt Switch as well? Well, then they Volt Switch and Flare Cannon.
Once that Kyogre falls, the rest of the dominoes go with it. The Rillaboom, the Calyrex are going to really struggle against that Lunala, especially when you've got the support of the Incineroar there, which is sitting pretty comfortable at the minute. It's not really worrying about much outside of that Kyogre, which you can cover with that Miraidon.
And you talked about Kyogre being the one to really kind of the pace when we saw how little damage that the Calyrex Ice Rider was able to do and things like the Incineroar, especially after Intimidate. But the Kyogre's in a really, I mean, difficult predicament right now.
Yeah, and the problem is with the Miraidon as well, because of the Life Orb item that it's got one attack. And once it uses that, the recoil damage is going to take it down. So you've got to be really convinced with where you're landing this attack. You don't want to waste it into a target.
Dear God.
You need to get
Shift Gear, Repair, Weakness
Yeah, so
policy
you target
stored
into the
power
Kyogre
moon
and
blast.
try and take care of that big threat for Nick. A Pokemon that could also protect him and maybe just lose the Miraidon without doing
Can you
damage.
survive
Rillaboom opts in.
5 turns
You
in
target
Trick
into the
Room?
Rillaboom, even resisted. The Rillaboom no longer has an Assault Vest, and it's still a Miraidon with the Terrain. So where do you target down for Ko with that one last attack? If it is into the Kyogre slot to try and get rid of that restricted, well, instead you're going to be targeting.
I mean, I get it. You don't really want to be using shift gear under Trick Room, but still, though, what a monster.
In this situation. But I'm eyeing up this Miraidon. Where do we target? We're gonna have to wait a second longer.
We're going to have to wait a little longer, and yeah, even if it is into the Calyrex, I think the thing for Nick is that he's got that Kyogre off the field to bring back in, but it isn't into
Draco
the Calyrex,
kills.
Rillaboom.
And that's going to be a Draco Meteor to drop the Pokemon on the other end. So Rillaboom is taken down. The Miraidon, though, as you called, that is a Life Orb recoil. That is a one and done. Miraidon is down. Whether it's a worthwhile trade, we'll have to see both trainers down to 2 Pokemon apiece.
The one thing that you would say Ko's got at their advantage right now is the ability to bring in this Incineroar, which is really smart, switching that out and not the Miraidon in that situation to preserve it. You've got the Incineroars coming, you've got the Fake Out, and that might be enough to sway this game in your favor. You can Fake Out and get a Trick Room set up, and that will give you maybe the room that you need to be able to get through this Kyogre that right now is threatening some big potential knockouts.
You only get the one Fake Out, though, into the 2 Pokemon on the opposing end. So there is still the option for Nick to be able to target into something. Something like the Kyogre can be getting rid of the Lunala in one fell swoop. But the Calyrex is a Pokemon that you can start putting pressure in other ways. You can try and anticipate the Trick Room, try and make the heads-up play, or go for something like the Leech Seed and try and make sure that you slowly but surely win out this match with that recovery over time. So there is still some staying power for Nick, even with the Fake Out pressure on the opposing end.
Yeah, and the one thing that Nick's got in their bank is the Terrestrialization. They haven't used that yet, so they can take advantage of that. But I think you're right. I think the Leech Seed now is something that you're going to have to really lean into to try and get through this match. You've already taken Intimidate from the Incineroar, so your Glacial Lance is on going to be hitting as hard. Kyogre in a bit of an awkward spot, and now you've got that Fake Out, which is really pressuring you. And on the back of that, we are seeing that Terrestrialization trigger pulled.
Make sure this Calyrex Ice Rider has what it takes to make it through the turn. As we saw, it wasn't going to be a Protect locked in. So make sure that you can try and make it through to the next step. Kyogre also looking to make it to the next stage, Protect. So no damage coming out from this restricted. Fake Out attempt into the slot as well. It's going to be between the Lunala and the Calyrex Ice Rider. Did Ko ready up an attack or the attempt at the Trick Room? It is the Moongeist Beam. So
Wow.
Well, we saw the lock-in from
So then it's gonna use.
Ice Rider will be twisting the dimension. So this is more for itself, but that Kyogre's going to struggle here.
Yeah.
I think, Nick, maybe you predicted the Trick Room
I
from the Lunala.
I thought it was gonna go for like.
Saying, no, I'm not gonna allow
I don't
you to
know.
get the Trick Room.
But then again, I don't know.
But it's almost backfired by Cole going for an attack. Now the Trick Room is set up. Now the Kyogre is in a really awkward spot because the double up into it is active. The Incineroar can go for a knockoff into it, and then you can just go for a Moongeist Beam. That will be enough to get rid of the Kyogre, leaving all the emphasis onto that Calyrex Ice Rider. Can Nick go for a double Protect there? Maybe get a Trick Room again with the Calyrex to flip the dimensions back to normal and put that Kyogre in a better position, because right now it is heavily threatened.
It could just be a Calyrex Ice Rider that is relied on to try and close out its game by itself. With the Kyogre being in a situation it might not necessarily appreciate, staring down the 2 Pokemon on Ko's end. Now the dimensions are twisted, all down to it, but that's gonna be
Double
the
Protect.
the double Protect. The 1 in 3 Kyogre stays safe this turn. Calyrex Leech Seed into that Lunala. So we got a perfect situation for Nick, given this situation. Now knockoff, of course, when Pokemon is already protected, this seems like it could have been so safe. So Kyogre makes it through, and yeah, Ko.
Wow, they really want that Kyogre dead.
Okay, and this isn't so bad either. I think this is another road that Nick can go down. He's obviously identified a win condition going down this route, but needs a little bit of help getting there, getting these Leech Seeds off onto both of these Pokemon before that Kyogre goes down. And I think now the door opens where you can get the Leech Seed into the Incineroar, and between the Leech Seed, the leftovers recovery, it's going to be very hard to take this Pokemon down. It didn't feel like the Calyrex could get into that position, but it is nearly there, of course. The Kyogre still threatened this next turn. Really nice to get that double Protect, of course, but are you just delaying the inevitable where the double up comes this turn into the Kyogre and does remove it, leaving the Calyrex and the Lone Ranger going into the rest of this match.
I feel like at this point, just Origin Pulse.
You got the double, go for the triple.
Triple! Triple protect! Oh my god.
Making its way through the trigger as fast as it can. Calyrex on the offensive now, and Ko, you can see head in hands. And of course, you have to anticipate that would have been a double up into the slot instead. Again, Kyogre has been such a big threat, and it's been a Pokemon that Ko has not been able to take down at any point in this match.
The lifeline is there, and Nick's going for it all the way. The time is chipping for that Lunala with these Leech Seeds sapping away. It's close now to going down to a Glacial Lance from this Calyrex. And now if you're Nick, do you go for the fourth protect? Do you get it? That is going to be huge if you do, because you're getting through these Trick Room turns. And then if you could do it, the Kyogre are going to be in that spot to just clean up, wash away the opponent, and take this to a game 3. But it's getting close. Everything on the line as we're getting into the latter stages of this game.
Sheer Orb, Hisuian Bravery, Hurricane. Truly one for the ages.
And so much attention on this Kyogre. The Calyrex Ice Rider has made such great progress on the field. Now another round of this Glacial Lance. This Lunala's been taking.
Okay, Lunana's dead. That's it. We win. That's it.
All the attention on the Kyogre has just allowed this Calyrex Ice Rider to do whatever it wants. And Go, only that one Pokemon left. And no matter where this targets,
Now it's +1, and it's perfectly fine.
That finally gets hurt on this turn, doesn't get taken down,
And that hits.
to connect and take Incineroar down. We're going to a game.
Crazy. Bro thinks he's Nidoking.
We got a triple protect. We didn't expect it. Great play here from Nick in a really awkward spot. You felt like the match was just slipping away from him.
Man.
To be done and taking full advantage of the Calyrex. You've got to give Nick huge credit there for utilizing the Leech Seed when they did and the Glacial Lance when they did. Yes,
I forgot to like move forward.
Those triple protects, but you got to go for it.
Hey, that's why you gotta have high friendship with your Pokemon. The power of friendship really coming in clutch there. I mean, sometimes that's what it comes down to. Sometimes we see those critical hits. Sometimes we, he knows it. You see that laugh. He knows it. I mean, sometimes that's how the game goes out. But playing to your outs. And while all that attention on the Kyogre, because again, you can talk about the triple and maybe, you know, talk about the luck factor of it, but playing out of what could have been a very scary situation when you're anticipating that maybe Ko was going for the Trick Room, you said it yourself, and just, wow, okay, what do I do from here on? Finding the only win con out of it to make your way into game 3, I think is just wholeheartedly impressive. From Ko, that has to be devastating though, because you were just one double up away from, I mean, moving on into top 8. Now you're going into a game 3, and that is terrifying.
Yeah, and I think this is the testament to Cole right now going into this next match. I think with how well they played game 1, how well they played the majority of game 2, but how that ended is going to hinge on how well they can deal with that. Is it going to affect them going into game 3? Because a lot of players that would affect, that would definitely come into your mind and think, what do I need to do to win this set? And I think you've just got to stay cool, calm, and composed. I think we talked about at the top of the show how experienced they are at this stage and this kind of environment, this big stage, the World Championships. So maybe it doesn't affect them, hopefully not. But I think you've got to evaluate what you're doing there. I think there's got to be more emphasis on trying to get rid of that Kyogre earlier on in this match if you can. Nick playing so well, not allowing that to happen. So it's not going to be easy, but I think once the Kyogre falls, I think all the other things kind of fit into place.
Especially since that turn where Nick set up the Trick Room could have been a situation where Nick just claims it without. So you have to reevaluate, is there a switch up? If there is, it isn't in the lead though, heading into game 3 here, top 16. A switch up from Nick though. We've seen different leads every time. The Fluttermane has been the tried and true, but Calyrex Ice Rider this time.
Yeah, it's a nice switch up here. You've still got the pressure with the Fluttermane on both of these Pokemon. From Cole, the Lunala not wanting to take a Shadow Ball, and the Miraidon not wanting to take a Moonblast. Do you Terastallize the Fluttermane here? Maybe not. You didn't in game 2, and everything worked out, and that Terastallization at the end probably gave you just the edge you needed.
Talking about the mind games and everything else, Fluttermane has had 2 different targets for these first 2 turns. First game, we saw the Terastallization, and into the Miraidon on the other end with that Moonblast, which would have been a KO if it wasn't for the Terastallization. Game 2, we saw the Moonblast into that Lunala, which would have been Oodles, but it had Terastallized. So for Ko, which Pokemon do you Terastallize? What do you think Nick is going to do on this turn? Like, this could be a huge turn to dictate the outcome of this match.
Let me see something real quick.
You can't really overextend on
I don't get why the right Joy-Con dies so much faster than the left one.
Pressuring with the Moon Guys Gleam into both of these Pokemon here, if no Terastallization. And the Miraidon is in that spot where it can just put attacks and damage onto whatever it wants, but it is leaving the field.
It does not want to stick around to find out if it was going to be a Moonblast. Fired off into that slot. Incineroar swap in seems a lot more safe. Intimidate into the Calyrex Ice Rider is going to be so nice. And Terrestrialization, well, when you see the Miraidon leave, you know it can only be for one target. That Lunala into that Fairy type. So this seems to be the best of both worlds. Now you don't have to worry about the Shadow Ball. Miraidon doesn't have to worry about anything at all. But Terrestrialization piece for these trainers, well, Ko is making sure that, hey, this Lunala's safe. Nick is making sure his restricted is preserved as well. Calyrex Ice Rider into that Fairy type. Make sure it can soak up as much hits as possible. Now Shadow Ball that into Lunala. We saw the damage before. This is going to be breaking that Shadow Shield and see how much damage can be done now in return. As again, Ghost type attack into the Flutter Mane. That's got 1 HP. Okay, the last Sash. We're bringing it down to Sash. We're making it interesting over here. Now it's going to be Calyrex.
Oh, lordy, lordy. Lordy.
Going to take that hit so
Still
well.
no shiny.
And see how much that Intimidate pays off.
Yeah, it's a really strong Intimidate. You can see the Glacial Lance just not having the impact that Nick wanted it to. And the Flutter Mane there, taking the advantage of that Focus Sash, right? You rightly called it out there, where it has the ability to just sit in front of these really big threats because it knows it's got that blanket, that security, where it can just choose its target wisely and try and get some crucial damage off. Unfortunately, not really paying off there because of the terrestrialization on the Lunala. Now the Incineroar comes in. Do you go for the fake out into the Calyrex to slow down? Probably not. You probably want to try and pivot out, get that Incineroar off the field to drop that Intimidate a little bit later on when necessary to further weaken that Calyrex. And now you've got the opportunity to take down that Flutter Mane. As we know, it's got no Protect there, so an easy target for the Lunala.
Ooh, eyeing this up. Flutter Mane taking a pause from going for these attacks, instead taunt into Lunala. So we won't be able to see anything other than attacks from that Lunala for the next couple
now I
of
can't see it.
turns. Incineroar, it was Flutter Mane with only 1 HP.
Oh, that's
Not
right.
A
It's
very
like
easy U-turn to be able to take care of that Pokemon and get
I was trying to
switch.
change the
I'm curious
image.
with
I
what
forgot
the
this one
Lunala
was like
fields here with
not.
that
This is
knowledge
not
of,
the
well,
image.
the Lunala is taunted, and what can be
Try
used
this
to
one.
support it.
Yeah, but I mean, if you go back to game 1, I don't think the taunt matters too much. There was not really so much emphasis other than that very end turn on the Trick Room being important for Korra. It feels like that. I think the emphasis is on utilizing that big Moongeist beam, and that's what I expect to come out into the Calyrex here. Of course, Nick taking the smart choice to Terrestrialize out of that weakness, so it's not going to take as much damage, but it's still going to be taking about 40.
For real, the who up nabbing they nuts, dog.
that Calyrex is going to struggle to kind of keep up with the rest of the field.
I got plenty of like nab nut like scenery
It was a Lunala that goes for the Trick Room, and Nick
in my background folder. 252 Magmarizer, Terrifier, Overheat, 40 to 47.
That's kind of
Ooh.
interesting. Nick probably wanted to set it up there because now in a really nice position where you've got the Rillaboom in, you can pressure.
I mean that's at least fat damage.
And then you've also got the Woodhammer, which unintimidated is going to do a lot of damage to that Lunala. Now it's Shadow
Or at
Shield
least I would
pocket.
consider
So
it
the
fat
nice thing
damage.
Cole's got in their back pocket is that Incineroar that's now at the field. It's a pretty easy switch in here to drop that Intimidate and further weaken the Calyrex. The Calyrex, though, in a nice position to start spreading those Leech Seeds around, especially because the Lunala has been taunted. It can't really do much but attack, and it's in a prime position to have those Leech Seeds put onto it, start
There we
slowly
go.
chipping away at it.
Slightly
So
better.
Utilize the Rillaboom and maybe go for that Urshifu instead.
And the Lunala, I mean, talk about the Trick Room and everything else it shut off. Also can't protect, but no fake out instead. Just dealing the damage into the Urshifu. Not going to be nearly enough for the KO, but Lunala also not being able to protect means it will be Leech Seeded. So every
Leech
time it's on the
Seed.
field will be a little bit of damage put away
Crazy.
every turn. But still, this is going to be a decent chunk of damage into that
So yeah, he's
Rillaboom.
still got his
This is the
AV,
assault
so he's
round,
definitely
bringing it to
surviving
a
that.
round and a half. And with the U-turn, enough for the KO.
Yeah, there we go. A huge knockout onto a key piece of the puzzle for Nick there from Cole with that Urshifu, being able to retain that for later in this game. Key U-turn there, and now the Incineroar going to be able to come back onto the field in a really nice position to get another Intimidate onto this Calyrex. The nice thing for Nick has got that Leech Seed into the Lunala, so you can start the chip away with that each and every turn and keep your Calyrex a little bit healthier, even though it hasn't got the emphasis and the power that you'd want with those Glacial Lances because of the Intimidate. But the thing is, with the Leech Seed, as long as that Lunala stays on the field, you can switch that Calyrex out, you set these Intimidate drops, and whatever comes into this slot will be able to kind of reap the rewards of that recovery from the Leech Seed each and every turn that Lunala sticks around.
I mean, eyeing up the board with the Leech Seed, I feel like the Leech Seed is going to be the more impactful thing to be really adding up, but the Glacial Lances, after the Intimidate drops, won't be able to really be that damage, as only Nick 2 final Pokemon versus the 4 from Co. Nick back against the wall, 2 restricted Pokemon, see if he can make his way through here. And with this Kyogre, it was an emphasis throughout the rest of the match. When you are in this Trick Room situation, it's a Pokemon that's going to struggle just a little bit more. So now you have to see, are we going back to the Protect to try and make its way through, and the Calyrex is just going to make the headway here? Like, what do you do?
Yeah, and I think unless you got the Ally Switch, that Kyogre's not really going to be able to take advantage of those Leech Seeds with the 2 Pokemon that Nick's got left. And I think, yeah, it's a really tough position here because the Kyogre is a prime fake-out target where the Lunala maybe wants to switch out here. Maybe Cole wants to get rid of that Preserver for later on in this game. And then
Eventually, I need to make borders for these,
keep and preserve that Incineroar a little bit.
I need to make I need to make borders for these, like, images and stuff. Cause, like, you know, cause it's like I don't know, like I have a vision for what I want, but it's hard to, like, you know, it's hard to make the stuff that I want to make. And unfortunately, they don't have, was it paint? I don't know what it was. No, there's the Paint app, but then there was, like, yeah, they don't have Paint 3D anymore, and Paint 3D was so much better than standard Microsoft Paint.
I'm just eyeing up this Calyrex and how much setup you can have, but Co being able to just keep limiting out. You are looking at maybe just going through the Leech Seed. If you can get a KO at any point, it'd be nice to reboost the attack up, but all the Pokemon on Co's end have so much health. Nick, yet again, so stressful. Always making sure at the last couple of seconds, Calyrex is going to be the one to protect on this turn, looking at the preservation of these Pokemon and the Kyogre as well. So we're just looking at getting through the right here, right now. Get closer to the end of this Trick Room that you have set up.
Triple Protect.
With Protect as well.
Yeah, it's a nice double Protect from Nick. It might not make a lot of
Knock
sense
off.
all around, but I think you're expecting the Miraidon to protect here. You want to kind of try and lock in this board, prevent the Incineroar from going for the U-turn, keep it on the board so nothing else can come in and support that Miraidon. Now the Miraidon in that really awkward spot where...
How long have I been streaming? Oh, it's about to be 3:20. 3 hours, 20 minutes that I have been streaming. Almost.
Anything that the Kyogre follows up with into that slot will be able to remove it. So you can remove one of these big restricted targets this turn. Really nice play there from...
That would be fun.
A lot of pressure on Spawn, having to make some big decisions going into this next turn.
Dusknoir with Shadow Shield. Give it more HP, more attack. And that's the thing, if you're going to give it Shadow Shield, I guess at that point, you know, also increase its defenses. And obviously, like, with Trick Room and stuff like that, if you wanted to do Trick Room, then lower its speed.
Bring another Pokemon in from Co's end. Lunala is the one to re-hit the field. Glacial Lance, again, we haven't really been seeing these do too much damage, just as slowly over time, and knock off from the Incineroar so much into the Kyogre. So when we're eyeing up the damage output, Mystic Water is going to be gone, but Origin Ball's still there. And
oh, look at that double kill.
Now even 2 Pokemon apiece.
Yeah, really nice pick up there from Nick to get rid of 2 big threats. Now, the knockoff there was interesting. You get rid of the Mystic Water, so it's going to reduce the power of those water-type attacks on the Kyogre. And the rain is on a time.
Oh my god, Reaper's Cloth is Magic Guard as a Hallowed item. But boost defense by 10% rather than the other, you know, 1.5
it's not really
boost.
got the impact that you want, and one thing that Cole can do is take advantage of the rain because you know the Urshifu is...
I would like that. More items that do specific stuff for specific Pokemon.
By the item that it's holding.
Yeah, eyeing up this board, you now have the Trick Room that's gone, a Miraidon that's hit the field with the speed, and Pokemon from Nick that the Kyogre is already at half. It also just doesn't fare well against that Miraidon. And a Calyrex, yeah, it's full health, but when you're eyeing up a Choice Band and the rain, and this Urshifu. I mean, the list is getting long, and the Calyrex looks.
I mean, Urshifu is here. This is very scary because now, like, under rain, it's gonna banded stab plus rain. I think if not this turn, it's the last turn. The next turn is definitely the last turn. Yeah, there you go. That's it. I was about to say that's it.
No chance. One Pokemon left for Nick's World Dream. It's going to be just the Calyrex Ice Rider staring down the Urshifu onto the opposing end of the field. We talked about the amount of damage it can do.
I'm about to say.
Strikes. It isn't going to be enough to claim this game quite yet. But the Calyrex Ice Rider, I don't think it's going to be having enough here. That we've seen how the Intimidates have really stacked up. We've seen how little these Glacial Lances have been doing. We see the health bars. Rhydon will be taken down, but the Urshifu will be enough for Ko.
Yeah, it's a great adjustment coming into game 3. We didn't see games 1 or games 2, but
60 HP, 120 attack, 6 60 HP, 120 attack, 65 special attack, 140 defense, and both defenses and 25 speed, and Poltergeist 100.
World Dream for Ko Sakune still alive, taking the victory 2-1 and moving on to top 8 here in Anaheim. He has been a world champion once before and has this opportunity one step closer to try and relive that.
Incredible from Ko, and you've got to really give huge credit to Nick as well to take it right down to the wire. He played that so well in such difficult situation, but Ko all the way through just kept the pressure on with his choices for positioning, and that Urshifu.
Give it Drain Punch, bulk up, CC since Ghost Fighting is unresisted. At that point, it'd be funny. It would be funny to make it like Ghost Fighting.
That's a 3-set between those two trainers, though. I feel almost a little bit out of breath after that. Like, where do we even start? Because the thing that's really interesting is we did get to see little adjustments throughout the game with the Pokemon. You're calling about that Urshifu in the game 3 and how perfect it was. But it was also those little adjustments when we see that Ko did
Okay.
all three
This is gonna be, well, for now, I'm gonna end the stream. If this is not a shiny, I'm ending the stream. But then I'll be back live around like, I don't know, 8, 9, okay, 4 p.m. and either 4 or 5 hours, maybe earlier if I'm feeling like it. Okay, it's not a shiny, but like I said, I'm gonna like come back later. Alright. There you go. Ooh, I'm so glad the thing plays in the background. That is so cool. Alright, I'll be back later tonight. For me, it'll be tonight. I don't know about you guys. Alright.